Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Aura Revival, Awakening the God-Killing Spear at the Beginning. Chapter 81. Anna was not driven away by Chuyi in the end. This woman was too persistent. At this time, Chuyi's brows were furrowed, and an ominous premonition filled his heart. He vaguely felt a dangerous aura, an evil and powerful aura that spread rapidly in the sky, making people shudder. This kind of breath is the breath of the devil. Chuyi murmured softly. This is the devil's breath. Is the devil coming? The devil's breath spread out in the air like wings of darkness. Only Chuyi seemed to feel this breath most clearly. Chuyi instantly activated the Kunpeng form and soared high into the sky. The distance between him and the sky was getting closer and closer, accompanied by a terrifying demonic aura. Suddenly, a mysterious young man appeared in his field of vision, with black hair hanging loosely in front of his forehead, and a strong demonic aura exuding from his body. There was also a blonde woman standing next to her, also filled with the aura of the devil. Chuyi widened his eyes, looked at the black-haired male demon and the blonde female demon, narrowed his eyes slightly, and said calmly, "You are the demons, leave Blue Star now, otherwise you will only have one ending, death." The black-haired male demon sneered and responded with a sneer, "Ha ha ha. It seems that this is a little bug from the human race. How dare you speak to my dark demon king like this, how brave you are." There was a trace of ridicule and disdain in his eyes. The blonde female devil raised a sly smile on her lips and said coldly, "You little human bug, you are so courageous, I don't know how strong you are." There was a hint of cunning and threat in her eyes. Suddenly, a jet black light burst out from the blonde female devil's body, bringing with it an unprecedented sense of strangeness. This black light seemed to come from another world, and it rushed to Chuyi's body in an instant, blowing towards his face like a strong wind. What is this? How can there be black light in the world? Chuyi's heart suddenly became filled with surprise. Fortunately, Chuyi's physical body is powerful. If it were the previous Chuyi, I am afraid that he would have been swallowed up by this black light. At this critical moment, a strange incident happened. Chuyi's body actually began to absorb the dark light, and the unawakened demonic power in his body was also quietly reviving. All this happened without Chuyi noticing. The black-haired male demon sneered, "Human insect, I feel the aura of our evil demon race in you, and you actually slaughtered our fellow humans. You are qualified to know my name is Moe-Ocean." Quote. Chuyi said coldly, "Moe-Ocean. I don't like this name." Holding the god-killing spear in his hand, he rushed towards the two demons like lightning. His speed was so elusive that he could only see it in the sky. The moment he launched an attack on Moe-Ocean. Bang bang bang, countless loud noises echoed in the sky, and two black rays of light quickly intertwined in the sky, forming a thrilling fierce battle. The blonde female demon was about to step forward to help Moe-Ocean, but Moe-Ocean raised his head and said confidently, "Xiaolu, I will deal with this human bug, and you go find Labas." However, at this moment, Fatty quickly came to Chuyi on somersault clouds and asked doubtfully, "Brother Chu, I sensed battle fluctuations. What's going on?" Chuyi said calmly, "Fat man, you came just in time to get rid of that blonde female devil." The fat man patted his chest and proudly agreed, "No problem." Xiaolu sneered and said, "Human fat bug, do you think you can kill me?" The fat man grasped the Rui golden cudgel tightly and rushed towards Xiaolu with disdain, "Kill you? Is it difficult? Look at my dog-beating stick skills." The battle broke out instantly, and four figures crisscrossed in the air, like a blazing fire. The flames danced with light. Their speed is dazzling. Ding, ding, ding. The collision and interweaving of weapons produced a sharp and crisp metal collision sound, which was as exciting as music. In this constant collision, the demonic power in Chuyi's body continued to awaken. He could clearly feel the powerful demonic power surging in his body. Although he didn't know whether this was good or bad, he knew that as long as he awakened the demonic power, he would become more powerful. However, in this constant battle, Chuyi discovered his own shortcoming, that is, his speed was too slow. It's too slow. Facing Moe-Ocean's extremely fast attack, he was helpless. Fortunately, Chuyi's physical body was so powerful that he could barely resist. At the same time, Fatty was facing Xiaolu at a clear disadvantage. Chuyi asked leisurely, "Fat man, how is your current situation?" There was a hint of concern in his tone. This guy is a bit tough. We can't defeat her yet. Fatty shook his head and said with a wry smile, Brother Chu, where did this devil come from? How can it be so powerful? Mo Aoshin shouted angrily. Human little bug. You dare to be distracted when fighting against me, Mo Aoshin, are you insulting me? Xiaolu taunted sinisterly. You human bugs, your death has come. Her voice was full of murderous intent. The battle broke out again, 4 figures crisscrossed in the air, and after a long time. Okay, Mo Aoshin, Xiaolu, you can lead me to death. Chu Yi's eyes flashed fiercely, and he sneered. In an instant, Chu Yi's body exuded terrifying demonic power, burning like a raging fire. Not only ice, but all the attributes of Chu Yi, including water, wood, ice, poison, thunder, and fire, are all added with demonic power. At this moment, he fully awakened the demonic power. The secret of Thunder Flame God-killing spear. Chu Yi roared, a thunderous roar echoed in the air, the thunder flame form instantly opened, his whole body seemed to be surrounded by a burning flame, exuding powerful explosiveness fluctuation. I saw that the god-killing spear in his hand was instantly wrapped in the power of thunder and flames. The flame-like light flashed with terrifying power, and at the same time, it also exuded a frightening evil aura. At this moment, the power of the god-killing spear has once again been raised to a new level. Chu Yi held the handle of the gun tightly, his eyes flashing with determination. Die, demon, Mo Aoshin, demon, Xiaolu. His cold voice echoed in the silent air, the secret of destroying demons, killing gods in 100 steps. Suddenly, Chu Yi's body spun violently, and the god-killing spear pierced the sky like black lightning in his hand. The speed was elusive, and it went straight towards Mo Aoshin. Mo Aoshin mocked. Human bug, your strength is pretty good. However, it is far from enough to become my opponent. The sight in front of him made Chu Yi stunned. Mo Aoshin used an incredible movement to avoid his attack, and then his body disappeared in the blink of an eye. Then, Xiaolu also mysteriously disappeared. What on earth is going on? Chu Yi frowned, feeling confused. At this time, in a mysterious space, Xiaolu asked nervously, Aoshin, why didn't you kill that human? Her voice was full of doubts. Xiaolu, you don't understand. I felt the threat of death from that human's attack just now. Mo Aoshin took a deep breath, with a hint of fear in his tone. The weapon in his hand can actually threaten me's life. Xiaolu said in disbelief. How is it possible? There is someone on this planet who can threaten you. The universe is vast and contains endless variables. There are many people who can kill me. Mo Aoshin shook his head, with a trace of vigilance flashing in his eyes. Lucia frowned. After thinking for a moment, she asked, then what should we do now? Should we just let that weird human being go? HMPH, I didn't expect that there are such powerful humans on this planet. Mo Aoshin sneered, a trace of solemnity flashed in his eyes. We must consider this matter carefully and cannot make a conclusion easily. If we have to, it's better to withdraw first. Aoshin, are we too cautious? That guy is just a slightly stronger human being. Lucia's mouth opened slightly, with a hint of surprise in her eyes. However, a solemn expression suddenly appeared between Mo Aoshin's eyebrows. You don't understand. I feel the breath of death in that human weapon. There is a deep vigilance in his eyes. Once I am hit by him, I will definitely die. I finally know how he killed the devils. On the other side, Chu Yi has quickly returned to Spark City. They actually escaped. These guys are really cowards. Fatty's shocked expression gradually turned into laughter. Ha ha ha. Chu Yi frowned deeply, with a hint of worry in his eyes, and said, Fat man, don't underestimate those demons. They are very strong. I could feel just now that they did not use their full strength. Chu Yi felt in his heart with a deep sigh. He realized that his strength was still not strong enough. He urgently needs to seize the time to practice and improve his realm and strength. After talking to the fat man, Chu Yi couldn't wait to return to his residence, sat cross-legged, and started to run the primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu. It's you. Turn it into my power. He was determined to absorb the last 2 energy cores, the life core and the speed core. For Chu Yi, the most important thing was the speed core. As for the power of the life core, Chu Yi has the body of origin, and his vitality has long been endless, so the power of the life core has become insignificant to him. Chu Yi's primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu was at the 7th level at the moment. The last time he practiced, the core of the physical system failed to allow him to break through to the next level, which made him feel a little frustrated. Alas! Chu Yi sighed bitterly and said to himself, the breakthrough in primordial origin Wuji Gong is getting more and more difficult. He deeply realized that the path to breakthrough in primordial origin Wuji Gong was becoming increasingly unpredictable and profound. The power of the speed core life core surged into Chu Yi's body like a torrent of river water, like an endless torrent pouring into his body. Primordial origin Wuji Kung is running around his body, like a divine dragon circling within his body, releasing astonishing spiritual energy. With the injection of core strength, Chu Yi felt that every inch of skin on his body seemed to be on fire. The entire room seemed to be enveloped by the aura of core power, filled with a suffocating sense of oppression, as if the air had frozen for a moment. Chu Yi's eyes were closed tightly, with no distracting thoughts in his mind. He was in a state of cultivation. Every pore on his body was trembling, as if there were countless tiny electric currents swimming in it. At this time, in a secret base in Yanjing City, Qin Haoran and Xiao Tianju were sitting face to face. Xiao Tianju said without delay, Qin Haoran, if you have anything to talk about, just say it directly. I don't have much time to spend here. You should know Chu Yi, right? I have met him. He is exactly the same as you, but different. His strength is much stronger than yours back then. Qin Haoran looked at Xiao Tianju deeply. There was a hint of calmness in his tone. Of course I know that Chu Yi is a member of Feng Qingyun's team. Xiao Tianju smiled and then continued, and he recently built a spark city in the desert, I know it. Qin Haoran stared at Xiao Tianju firmly, his voice full of firmness and conviction. I think you should give that thing to Chu Yi. Xiao Tianju frowned and asked with confusion. Qin Haoran, you have to explain clearly, what exactly is it? Qin Haoran's eyes flashed with passion and he replied without hesitation, of course it's a spiritual seed. When Xiao Tianju heard this answer, he was so shocked that he couldn't control himself. He could feel the firmness and determination in Qin Haoran's words, but he also knew the preciousness and importance of spiritual seeds. Spirit seed is a treasure condensed by the most powerful rank 9 superpowers. It is like merging all their moves, techniques, and insights into one to form a spirit seed. People with spiritual seeds can continue to understand the mysteries until they fully master them. It symbolizes the inheritance of the strong and carries all the understanding of the strong. Moreover, each person can only condense one spiritual seed in his life. Although spirit gathering seeds will not cause any harm to humans, this cannot conceal the precious and irreplaceable nature of spirit gathering seeds. Every strong person knows this, so few people are willing to hand over their spiritual seeds to others easily. Xiao Tianju frowned, his eyes penetrated Qin Haoran sharply, and said, Qin Haoran, do you know what you just said? Qin Haoran raised a faint smile at the corner of his mouth and said, of course. As long as you give your spiritual seed to Chu Yi's growth rate will increase by leaps and bounds. With his extraordinary talent and superior understanding, I believe that in less than 10 years, he can surpass you. Xiao Tianju was immersed in deep thought. He fell into a whirlpool of thought for a long time. Finally, he turned his eyes firmly to Qin Haoran and said, I can dedicate my spiritual seed, but Qin Haoran, you must agree to my request. Qin Haoran immediately replied, just say it, as long as it is a reasonable request, I will agree. Xiao Tianju narrowed his eyes, showed a sly smile, and said, as for the riot problem in the space rift, I hope you will solve it for 10 years. I know you have enough strength. Chu Yi, your brother Haoran can only help you so much. I hope you can realize your dream. Qin Haoran felt a deep determination in his heart, nodded, and promised firmly with his eyes, no problem, I will help you. But you must give your spiritual seed to Chu Yi. Xiao Tianju responded firmly, don't worry. I won't break my promise. Half a month passed by in a hurry, and Chu Yi sat cross-legged in his room, concentrating on practicing. He could feel that his primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu was on the verge of breakthrough. Chu Yi has completely absorbed the power of the extreme speed core life core into his body, and now all that is left is the breakthrough of primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu. A powerful aura emanated from his body, echoing around him. Suddenly, a huge aura burst out from Chu Yi's body, primordial origin Wujigong, and the 8th level was successfully broken through. Chu Yi, who was practicing, suddenly opened his eyes. The sight in front of him made him startled. Anna, why did you suddenly appear here? Do you know that this will scare people to death? Did you do it on purpose? His voice was filled with consternation. Anna lowered her head in embarrassment, with a hint of apology on her face. I didn't mean it, I'm sorry. Chu Yi. Chu Yi stared at Anna and asked, what's the matter with you? Anna bit her lower lip gently, and she said tangledly, there are several people looking for you, and they seem to know you. People who know me. I don't seem to have many friends. Who is it? Chu Yi frowned and whispered to himself. There was a hint of loneliness in his tone, and then he looked at Anna. She asked seriously, Anna, how is the development of Spark City during this time? Anna smiled and said, the development of Spark City is very good. In just half a month, thousands of people have joined Spark City, and they are all refugees. And the reputation of Spark City is getting more and more prominent. There are countless people coming in every day. Fatty and Sister Shirong are busy housing these homeless civilians. When Chu Yi heard that it was Fatty and Nangong Shirong who were helping to resettle the civilians, a touch of emotion flashed in his eyes. Then a trace of curiosity flashed in his eyes. Very good. Take me to see those people. I want to see with my own eyes who is looking for me. His voice was full of confidence, and now he was strong enough to deal with any strong enemy. After a while, as Chu Yi walked into the central meeting hall of Spark City, Anna followed behind him. The atmosphere in the hall was tense and depressing, and Chu Yi could feel the terrifying aura emanating from the man in the lead. Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded, little brother, I didn't expect you to grow up so fast. My sister is really happy. Chu Yi turned his head, and the person in front of him turned out to be Feng Qingyan. Let me introduce to you, this is Xiao Tianju, the commander-in-chief of our special forces with special abilities. Feng Qingyan introduced Chu Yi with a smile, her tone revealing pride and respect. Then she pointed at the other two people and continued to introduce, this is the leader of the Dragon Group, Xuanyuan Yi. And this is the leader of the Qilin Group, Lin Shaoqi. Hello, I'm Chu Yi. After Chu Yi greeted Xuanyuan Yi and Lin Shaoqi, he respectfully said to Xiao Tianju, hello, Senior Xiao, I didn't expect us to meet in this way. His voice revealed respect and admiration for this senior. Xiao Tianju was tall and burly. He was wearing a heavy military coat and exuded a sense of domineering. He stared at Chu Yi and said, Chu Yi is indeed very strong. He can reach such terrifying strength at the age of less than 20. Chu Yi smiled and asked curiously, Senior Xiao, do you have any business with me this time? Xiao Tianju's eyes showed a hint of determination, and he slowly said, Chu Yi, I have two purposes here. The first purpose is that I hope you can become independent and form an independent group. Currently, there are 3 groups in our special forces with special abilities, namely the Dragon Group, Phoenix Group and Unicorn Group. Now it's your turn, you now need to build a team of your own. Chu Yi felt a little embarrassed, and he couldn't help but said, Senior Xiao, but I am just alone now, and there is no way to form my own team. At the same time, Anna shouted excitedly, Chu Yi, as long as it is your organization, I will join it unconditionally. Chu Yi couldn't help but glare at Anna. He didn't expect that the daughter of the great emperor of the Bear Kingdom would turn out to be a pure licking dog. Why is she everywhere? Xiao Tianju smiled and said to Chu Yi, Chu Yi, you are no longer alone now. Your good brother Qin Tianju, his talent is peerless, without your existence, he will become the most dazzling new star of the era. Qin Tianju has a close relationship with Nangong Shirong, and you can also use the resources of the Nangong family. His eyes glanced at Chu Yi again and continued, also, this Miss Anna, she seems to like you very much. You must know that her father is the great emperor of the Bear Country. As long as she speaks, most of the resources of the Bear Country will be at your fingertips. Xiao Tianju paused and continued, and your friend Zheng Xin, although his talent is not the top, he has reached the S level. You know, although the Zheng family is not a big family of superpowers, but when it comes to financial resources, the Zheng family will definitely not lose to any aristocratic family. Immediately afterwards, Xiao Tianju's voice suddenly became impassioned. The most important thing is that now your Spark City is famous in the wasteland, and I believe that the civilians there will fully support you. Chu Yi, now you still feel are you alone? Chu Yi was speechless for a moment. He nodded silently, with a hint of complicated emotions in his eyes, and said, Senior Xiao, what is the second purpose of your visit this time? Xiao Tianzhu remained silent, but winked at Xuanyuanyi, Feng Qingyan and Lin Shaoqi. The three of them immediately understood and walked out of the meeting hall resolutely. Chu Yi also felt the seriousness of the atmosphere. He whispered to Anna, You also go out, Senior Xiao and I have some important things to discuss. Anna obeyed Chu Yi's words obediently and walked out of the meeting hall. At this moment, only Chu Yi and Xiao Tianzhu were left in the meeting hall. Xiao Tianzhu said solemnly, Let me tell you a story first. Chu Yi nodded slightly, indicating for him to continue. This story begins before the spiritual energy was revived. His voice was full of memories, like a mist leading people into the past. Before the spiritual energy was revived, the Dragon Kingdom was the most stable and prosperous country in the world, with its people living and working in peace and contentment, happy and healthy. The Dragon Kingdom at that time was like a fairyland, filled with an atmosphere of harmony and prosperity. However, with the revival of spiritual energy, many people began to undergo mutations. They became people with superpowers, which we call the first awakened ones. They have powers beyond ordinary people, but this also attracts some careerists. Social order is chaotic, and many people with superpowers begin to kill each other. And I, Xiao Tianzhu, am one of the first awakened ones. However, the good times did not last long. Endless strange beasts attacked the Dragon Kingdom. These strange beasts are very powerful and pose a huge threat to the Dragon Kingdom. In fact, at that time, countries all over the world were attacked by alien beasts, but the alien beasts of the Dragon Kingdom were the most powerful on the Blue Star. They were like blood-devouring demons, killing everyone on sight, making people frightened. At that time, it was simply a nightmare for the Dragon Kingdom. Fortunately, these nightmares did not defeat us. There is one person among us. His name is Qin Haoran. He is the most talented person among us, and I, Xiao Tianzhu, am the weakest. When Chu Yi heard this, he was shocked. It's brother Haoran. I didn't expect that he would have such an experience. Is this why he is always so strong? Xiao Tianzhu ignored Chu Yi's surprise and continued to talk. At that time, relying on Qin Haoran's leadership and his strong strength, we fought fiercely with the alien beasts and were evenly matched. However, even so, every battle we fight is a battle of life and death. We don't know whether we can come back alive in the next moment. However, one day, Qin Haoran suddenly disappeared mysteriously, like evaporating from the world. Just overnight, he completely disappeared. When Xiao Tianzhu said this, his emotions became a little excited, whether it was anger or regret. We have lost our leader, we have lost our strongest pillar. This disappearance actually lasted for a full 100 years. During this period, the entire Dragon Kingdom almost fell, leaving only 4 cities. They are Yanjing City, Dongli City, Qisha City and Nancheng City. These 4 cities have become our last strongholds, and we are holding on to our last hope. Xiao Tianzhu talked about it in detail for a long time, and finally let Chu Yi know some of the secrets of spiritual energy recovery, and also understood the reason why the Dragon Kingdom had become so miserable. Regarding Qin Haoran's sudden disappearance, Chu Yi was full of doubts and complicated emotions. He wanted to hate him, but he couldn't really hold a grudge. After all, 100 years had passed. No more nonsense, now it's time to get down to business. Xiao Tianzhu continued, his tone was firm, and his eyes revealed unprecedented determination. Chu Yi, I am willing to pass on my spiritual seed to you. What is a spiritual seed? Chu Yi looked confused. He didn't understand what a spiritual seed was. Xiao Tianzhu explained patiently. Every strong person who has reached rank 9 can condense a spirit seed. You can regard the spirit seed as a person's lifelong learning. And everyone can condense the spirit gathering only once in their life. Opportunity to plant. Chu Yi was surprised, his eyes were full of awe, and he said, Senior Xiao, you mean? However, Xiao Tianzhu interrupted him and said directly, yes, I am willing to hand over my spiritual seed to you. But why choose me? Chu Yi still had some questions. Xiao Tianzhu smiled and said, because we are very optimistic about your future, your talent and character. Chu Yi said humbly, Senior Xiao, I just did something within my power. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw a spiritual seed suddenly appear in Xiao Tianju's palm. This spiritual seed is as white as snow and exudes a faint sword energy. It represents Xiao Tianju's lifelong understanding. This is something that any superpower would be crazy about. Xiao Tianju solemnly said to Chu Yi, "Chu Yi, you must make good use of this spiritual seed. I believe that the Dragon Kingdom will regain its past glory in the future, and I believe we can do it." Then, Xiao Tianju then handed the spirit seed into Chu Yi's hands. Chu Yi was in a state of shock at this moment. He could feel what was contained in this spiritual seed. He solemnly and respectfully held his hand in his hand and said, "Thank you, Senior Xiao. I will definitely live up to your expectations of me." His eyes revealed his expectations and determination for the future. "Okay, it's time for us to leave." Xiao Tianju smiled, showing a solemn expression. "When the time is right, you can take your team members to Kunlun Mountain to practice. Moreover, everyone will have the opportunity to go Lingquan cultivation. I have an intuition that we don't have much time left." There was a hint of uneasiness and urgency in his tone. The moment Xiao Tianju left, Chu Yi suddenly asked, "Senior Xiao, do you know what the realm above rank 9 is?" His voice was full of curiosity and desire for knowledge. "I have reached the peak of rank 9 hundreds of years ago. As for the realm above rank 9, I don't know." Xiao Tianju stopped and turned around. His eyes were deep, showing a trace of thought. "But for so many years, I have stayed at the top of rank 9, but strangely, my strength has continued to grow." After Xiao Tianju left, Chu Yi fell into deep thought. He recalled that Qin Haoran once mentioned that he had been working hard to break through his own realm, but he had never reached a realm above rank 9. Forget it, forget about these annoying things. Chu Yi said to himself, trying to put these worries behind him and focus on the things in front of him. Anna's voice was as clear as a clear spring, and suddenly came, "Chu Yi, I want to join your team." Chu Yi asked doubtfully, "Anna, why are you here?" Anna replied with a smile on her face, "Senior Xiao has been gone for a long time." Chu Yi frowned and said seriously, "So you are going to join my team? Do you think it is possible? You are the daughter of the great emperor of the Bear Kingdom." "Hehehehe, Chu Yi, as long as you promise me, I can ask my father to devote all his efforts to help the development of Spark City." Anna narrowed her eyes, and a sly smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. "I believe that within 3 years, Longguo will all civilians in the wasteland can live and work in Spark City in peace and contentment." When Chu Yi heard these words, he couldn't help but swallowed. If what Anna said was true, it would be great. Peace has always been a dream for Chu Yi. "Okay, I promise you." Chu Yi nodded without hesitation and said firmly, "From now on, you will be a member of my Kunpeng team." A hint of cunning flashed in Anna's eyes, her smile became brighter, and she said, "These are not enough, you have to agree to another condition of me. After all, my father will not pay so much for an outsider without any cost." "Tell me, what is the other condition?" Chu Yi nodded, indicating that he understood. Anna's smile became brighter and she said, "As long as you marry me, we will be a family, and my father will definitely support your career with all his strength." "Anna, who taught you these words? It's hard to imagine that you would say such things." Chu Yi's face suddenly turned gloomy. He frowned, and said in a cold tone, "You, daughter, are you threatening me?" Anna felt Chu Yi's anger at this moment, and she immediately became meek. "I'm sorry, these were taught to me by Sister Feng Qingyan. She told me that as long as I say these, you will definitely agree." Chu Yi suddenly realized that it turned out to be Feng Qingyan. These people are all too shrewd. They are catching on to Chu Yi's weakness. Getting the full support of a country is undoubtedly a huge temptation for Chu Yi. It is really difficult for Chu Yi to refuse. If he can get the support of Shang country, he will quickly realize his plan. However, Anna's request made Chu Yi very distressed. He stared at Anna and said, "Do you want to change a condition? In addition to marrying you, I can agree to all other conditions." When Anna heard Chu Yi's words, her heart suddenly felt like it was covered with ice and snow, and she said with a trembling voice, "Why did you answer so simply? Am I so bad? Chu Yi, you rejected me without even thinking about it." Chu Yi's words hurt her heart like a knife. Chu Yi stared at her silently, speechless. Anna's eyes were moist, flashing with endless disappointment and pain. She turned and left silently, her bat gradually fading away. Tears slid down her cheeks, like crystal pearls. Oh, women. Chu Yi sighed deeply, his heart full of helplessness and exhaustion. It's really hard to admire their complexity. He shook his head, left the meeting hall, and walked back to himself's room. Immediately afterwards, Chu Yi couldn't wait to study Xiao Tianju's spiritual seed. He took a deep breath and activated the vast spiritual power contained in his body, and a majestic energy began to surge. He gritted his teeth tightly, concentrated his mind, and tried to establish a deep spiritual connection with the spiritual species. In the blink of an eye, the spiritual seed turned into an unparalleled sword intent, like a sharp sword piercing Chu Yi's body. This sword intent made him feel as if he was being swept up by a huge wave, and his whole body seemed to be integrated with the sword intent. At this moment, Chu Yi sat cross-legged, concentrating on comprehending the information in the spiritual seed. Tianju sword technique is a wonderful skill contained in the spirit seed, which makes Chu Yi so excited. Yes, it is a skill, and it is extremely powerful. Xiao Tian's entire understanding of this skill still exists in the spiritual seed. From the beginning to now, all Chu Yi's moves can be said to be Chu Yi's own creation. Now that he has this understanding of swordsmanship, Chu Yi believes that his strength can be improved quickly. An hour later, on the desert, Chu Yi was dressed in black robes, like a sword god in the dark night. He was holding the god-killing sword in his hand. The blade of the sword exuded an icy cold light. He had a vigorous posture and danced with Tianju's sword skills. The shadows crisscrossed each other like a gust of wind and rain. The swordsmanship is extremely exquisite. Under the vast sky of the desert, Chu Yi's swordsmanship is like a gorgeous dance, integrating him with the sword. Chu Yi was excited and said to himself, Tianju sword art, Tianju sword intent, Tianju sword intent, wonderful, really wonderful. With this set of sword techniques, the god-killing sword will be powerful in the world from now on. Relying on the insights from spiritual seeds, Chu Yi believes that he will soon be able to fully master these secrets. By that time, his combat effectiveness will inevitably be greatly improved. Then he couldn't wait and decided to start practicing the Tianju sword technique immediately. Time passed quietly as Chu Yi practiced, and he seemed to be immersed in the vast sea of swords. The sword intent was tumbling in his heart, like a violent storm, constantly circling, and each cycle was like a lightning strike, making his sword realm deepen one point. Sword intent, like an invisible hand, gently guides his swordplay, making it more mysterious and profound. As time went by, every part of his body was filled with sharp sword energy. The sword in his hand danced like clouds, and the sword light was as bright as stars. His body seemed to be integrated with the sword. He seemed to have integrated into the way of the sword and became the embodiment of the sword, entering a state of selflessness. He danced the god-killing sword, and every time he swung it, he exuded a mysterious sword energy. Suddenly, a strong thought came to his mind, reminding him of the moment Anna left. Recalling the cruel scenes of the Bear Country War, the innocent lives that fell in the flames of war seemed to turn into vivid pictures, reappearing in his mind. Chu Yi's heart was driven by a trace of madness, which was the strong evil spirit exuded by the god-killing sword. As Chu Yi transformed into a Kunpeng armor, he flew towards the United States at an astonishing speed. Not long after, he had arrived over the United States Federal Congress. Without hesitation, Chu Yi immediately landed and began ruthless killing. The god-killing sword in his hand danced non-stop, and the sword shadows crisscrossed. The guards were unable to resist and fell down one after another. Down. The guard exclaimed, "Who are you? Someone come and stop him. This man from the Dragon Kingdom is crazy." However, as soon as he finished speaking, he was killed by the sword. Another guard shouted loudly, "Inform Mr. Pelosi quickly, quickly." However, as soon as he finished speaking, his throat was mercilessly cut by Chu Yi. Countless screams echoed around the United States Federal Congress, and the smell of blood filled the air. At this moment, Pelosi witnessed Chu Yi's crazy killing. "Chu Yi, how dare you come? Everyone, hold him back." Her voice was full of anger and warning. However, when Pelosi looked at the bloody scene, she couldn't help but feel sick, and her stomach was churning. Time seemed to become blurry. After an unknown period of time, unexpectedly, Zeus arrived, apparently called by Pelosi. "Chu Yi, Qin Haoran protected you once last time, but this time you have no one to protect you." His voice was full of majesty. However, Chu Yi didn't seem to care about this. As if he was controlled by crazy emotions, he continued to kill Americans crazily. Pelosi felt frightened in her heart. She never thought that Chu Yi would be so crazy. Chu Yi's eyes were hollow and wild, as if he had lost all humanity and only knew how to kill. Pelosi hurriedly wanted to stop him, but her body couldn't move. She didn't dare. The Chu Yi now is no longer the Chu Yi before. She would only die if she rushed forward. Zeus frowned when he saw this. He took a deep breath and tried to calm down his emotions. Chu Yi, stop, I can give you a quick death. His voice was full of divine power. Chu Yi stopped what he was doing. His eyes were blurred and deep, as if he was stuck in the whirlpool of memory. Your country, the United States, has created countless wars and displaced the people of this world. I have witnessed with my own eyes the relationship between the Shang country and the Uzbekistan. China's war, the scenes there are shocking. Now, you can also taste the pain. His voice was full of deep resentment, like a low groan from hell. Zeus, the American superpower, frowned, and the fire of anger burned in his eyes. Then fight. Today, I will get rid of this scourge of you from this world. His voice roared like thunder, as if the heaven and earth were the same. Tremble with it. There was a trace of bloodthirsty fanaticism in Chu Yi's smile. He held the god-killing sword tightly as if he was holding the end of his life. He rushed towards Zeus without hesitation, his sword light drawing a gorgeous and sharp arc in the air. Zeus exudes holy light, and the light condenses into dazzling swords and shields. His whole body was like a sacred statue, solemn and majestic. The figures of the two people were intertwined, and a crazy battle broke out instantly. Bang, bang, bang. The sword light and the holy light collided with each other, and the air was filled with terrifying sword energy. Bang, bang, bang. Every confrontation was accompanied by a thunderous collision. Every swing of the sword seemed to shake the space. Chu Yi's body seemed to be integrated into the ocean of swords, dancing step by step, like the sword god between heaven and earth. This is the Tianju sword intent, and you actually used Xiao Tianju's unique skill. Impossible. Did he pass his only spiritual seed to you? Zeus opened his mouth in shock, but Chu Yi ignored it. A crazy roar broke out in his crazy eyes. No matter who you are. Anyone who stands in my way will die. The United States must pay the price for the war it launched. Pelosi, who was in the distance, was keenly aware of Chu Yi's state. His state had fallen into an abnormal demonic state, often called obsessed. Pelosi shouted anxiously, Chu Yi, you stop, otherwise I will send people to your Spark City to massacre your people. No matter how high the cost, I will not show mercy. You leave now, you do now I can forget everything that happened. Huh, what did you say? Chu Yi suddenly sobered up a lot when he heard Pelosi's threat. Chu Yi's eyes gradually became clearer. Oh, let's forget the past. Do you want to force me to kill someone and silence them? He looked at Pelosi and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Chu Yi, you still want to kill people and silence them? At the same time, Zeus sneered, I will show you now what the real power is. The sword of holy light, God's judgment. Suddenly, a huge sword of holy light appeared in the sky above Chu Yi's head, emitting a dazzling light. Good luck, just in time to try this move. Chu Yi laughed loudly. He quickly mobilized his inner strength and suddenly displayed Tianju sword intent. Tianju sword intent. Ju Tian sword slash. The sword intent condensed into an invisible sword, and Chu Yi suddenly swung it, performing Ju Tian sword cut. An earth-shattering sword light shot up into the sky instantly, unstoppable. The sword energy slashed mercilessly towards Zeus. Zeus's holy light sword struck at Chu Yi with lightning speed. Evil spirit shield, protect me. Chu Yi smiled and used the evil spirit shield. The evil shield instantly blocked Zeus's holy light sword, and the holy light sword could not advance even an inch. Chu Yi's Tianju sword chi scratched Zeus's skin, although the scar was very slight. You little trash from the United States, I won. Chu Yi raised his eyebrows proudly and showed a confident smile. Ha ha ha. Zeus couldn't help laughing after hearing this. There was a sense of ridicule in the laughter, as if he was laughing at Chu Yi's ignorance and pretentiousness. You think you can say that you are just slightly better? Did you win? Why are you so confident? No, 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 I mean you are injured, you can die. Chu Yi grinned, with a playful arc at the corner of his mouth. It's just a small wound, and you still want me to die? Chu Yi, is there water in your head? Zeus smiled even more arrogantly when he heard Chu Yi's words. Even a 3-year-old child can't so ignorant, ha 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 ha. As soon as Zeus's voice fell, he immediately felt something strange in his body, and a strange black aura gradually eroded his body. Yes, this is Chu Yi's evil spirit. There was a trace of evil spirit in the sword energy just now. Chu Yi, what did you do to me? Zeus frowned and asked doubtfully. Hee hee. Chu Yi smiled, a little weirdly. Don't be nervous, little American trash. I just injected some insignificant things into your body. Chu Yi continued to sarcastically say, you can live for at most 10 minutes now. Do you have any last words? Then he took out the camera from the space ring and took a few photos of Zeus. Then, he suddenly smiled and said in a solemn tone, tisk tisk, your photos show your dignity, ha ha ha. When Zeus heard this, he was confused. The boss of the International Organization of Superpowers only had 10 minutes left to live. And they are still being photographed. Impossible, you are lying to me. Zeus roared in disbelief. His whole body was shrouded in a layer of golden light, but it could not stop the erosion of the evil spirit. Zeus kept struggling. 10 minutes later, at the last moment of Zeus's life, Zeus shouted in despair, God will never let you go, Chu Yi. Chu Yi raised the corners of his mouth disdainfully, let out a contemptuous laugh, and said, return to God. God is nothing. Can you compare with me? After a long time, everything went surprisingly smoothly, and Chu Yi swallowed Zeus completely. What followed in Chu Yi's body was the appearance of a golden core, which exuded an extraordinary energy. What kind of energy core is this? It doesn't seem to belong to the 4 major power systems. Chu Yi couldn't help but murmured in a low voice, never mind, let's go back to Spark City first. You know, Labas is in Spark City now, and there are still 2 demons chasing him. The current Spark City cannot do without Chu Yi. Chu Yi was sure that even Little Scorpion was no match for Moe Ocean. We must improve our strength as soon as possible. After Chu Yi pondered for a moment, he quickly rushed back to Spark City. Today's Spark City is already glowing with prosperous vitality, with surging crowds and a bustling atmosphere. The sight in front of him makes Chu Yi full of a sense of accomplishment. All thanks to everyone's unremitting efforts and Chu Yi's ingenious design, the city is filled with the breath of nature, as if the breath of life is flowing everywhere. Living in this city, you can not only enjoy tranquility and beauty, but also prolong your life. Chu Yi, you're back. Fatty's voice was full of excitement and uneasiness, coming from a distance like a strong wind. What's wrong, Fatty? You look so panicked. What happened? Chu Yi frowned, with a trace of doubt in his heart. The fat man replied anxiously, no, Brother Chu. Did you know that Anna is gone? And she still left crying? Chu Yi raised his eyebrows, looked at the fat man calmly, and then said slowly, I know. What next? The fat man hesitated for a moment, then whispered, Brother Chu, do you know that Anna is responsible for many important affairs in Spark City? Once she leaves, the development speed of our Spark City will become extremely slow. Chu Yi waved his hand and said nonchalantly, I will find a solution for this matter. I have more important things to tell you. Fat man, in half a month, destroy the Japanese country, and then. Chu Yi then told Fatty about his plan. In this way, Chu Yi and Fatty discussed for a long time, and finally Fatty joined Chu Yi's Kunpeng group. Chu Yi returned to his room. The sight in front of him almost stunned him. He looked at an unexpected person. Standing in the room was Anna, her long golden hair shining with a charming luster under the light, like a crystal golden waterfall. At this moment, she was not wearing armor, revealing her hidden and beautiful body. Her figure was so hot that Chu Yi couldn't help but feel his heart beat faster. Chu Yi's eyes widened in surprise, and he said in surprise, Anna, aren't you leaving? Who said I left? I have joined your Kunpeng group. From now on, we are comrades in arms. Anna turned her head and looked at Chu Yi, with a firm light shining in her eyes. But you can't just come to my room at will. If you have anything to do, just tell me. Chu Yi nodded in agreement. Chu Yi, can't I come see you if you have nothing to do? Do you already hate me to this point? Anna's voice sounded as clear as a silver bell, with a hint of grievance and confusion in her tone. Anna, I don't hate you. You should practice now. Your strength is too weak. You will definitely hold me back in the future. There are many things waiting for us in the future. Chu Yi frowned, there was a hint of reproach and worry in his tone. HMPH. Chu Yi, you idiot, you can stay single for 10,000 years. Anna's face suddenly turned red, and she yelled angrily. Chu Yi heard this but didn't care. He waved his hand and said seriously, okay, there will be an important task waiting for us in half a month. Now your task is to speed up your practice. This is the team leader's order. Quote, Chu Yike had a girlfriend in his previous life, but he knew very well how troublesome women were. They were creatures that could torture people to the point of collapse. When Anna was driven away by Chu Yi, she pouted angrily. HMPH. Chu Yi, you can't escape my grasp. He swore secretly in his heart, did Sister Qingyan tell me some wonderful methods? Chu Yi, on the other hand, was sitting cross-legged in his spacious and bright room, concentrating on studying and feeling the golden core. This golden core exudes a strange energy, which seems to be light, but it is not really light. The golden core does not seem to belong to the four major superpower systems. The unique energy it exudes is incredible. Sure enough, this world is not as simple as I thought. Chu Yi was full of curiosity and excitement. He took a deep breath and began to concentrate on absorbing the energy contained in the golden core. As he continued to absorb it, Chu Yi felt a majestic and mysterious power pouring into his body, as if a magnificent river was flowing in his blood. Chu Yi's body trembled slightly, as if he had established a mysterious connection with this golden core. Chu Yi spent his time practicing like this, and the 10 days passed by like running water. The golden core energy surged into Chu Yi's body like a tide. He could clearly feel every ounce of energy integrating into his body, as if there were countless tiny rays of light traveling rapidly through his meridians. His powers, whether it is strength, speed or perception, have been greatly enhanced in all aspects by the injection of this energy. Although Chu Yi's physical strength has not been significantly improved, his supernatural power is increasing at an alarming rate. It's wonderful. If I go to Lingquan again, I can't imagine how powerful I can be. At this moment, Chu Yi's door was knocked, and the sound resounded throughout the room, which surprised him. Come in. Then, the door slowly opened, revealing the anxious and tired face of the fat man. His body was covered with scars and he looked very embarrassed. Chu Yi's face was shocked. The fat man was actually injured, which made Chu Yi a little angry. He stepped forward and asked with concern, "What's wrong? What happened?" The fat man gasped and said, "Brother Chu, it's terrible. Something very serious has happened." There was deep anxiety and nervousness in his voice. "Tell me, what happened?" Chu Yi frowned, his expression became serious, and there was a trace of tension in his voice. The fat man said eagerly, "Anna and Nangong Shirong were captured by Moe Ocean and Sha Lu." His tone was full of panic and helplessness. "What? There is such a thing?" Chu Yi's anger suddenly ignited. Although he had no such thoughts about Anna, he clearly remembered that Anna had saved his life and was still involved in the development of Spark City. Helped him many times. "Fat man, calm down and slowly tell me what happened." He suppressed his anger and calmed down. The fat man took a breath, gradually calmed down, and continued, "Yesterday, Moe Ocean and Sha Lu suddenly appeared in our Spark City, and then they kidnapped Anna and Nangong Shirong who were helping civilians." There was a hint in his voice, with a hint of helplessness and sadness. Fatty added nervously, "I fought with them. The two demons were very powerful. I felt that they definitely didn't use their full strength last time. I almost died in their hands. Fortunately, my somersault cloud speed was fast enough. I just barely escaped." His voice revealed the fear and joy of being on the line between life and death. "Did those two demons say anything?" Chu Yi narrowed his eyes, thinking about his next plan, with a hint of coldness in his tone. Fatty replied anxiously, "They said that as long as we hand over Labas, Anna and Nangong Shirong will be released." "What should we do now?" His voice was full of anxiety. Chu Yi was silent for a moment, his eyes suddenly became sharp, and then asked, "Did Moe Ocean say where he is waiting for me?" "He said he was waiting for you at the U.S. Federal Congress," Fatty said eagerly, his voice revealing his uneasiness about this matter. "Where is Labas now?" Chu Yi's voice revealed a trace of anxiety. When the fat man heard what Chu Yi said, he said angrily, Labas has disappeared. I think he must have escaped. This alien must have run away. Chu Yi frowned. He didn't expect these aliens to be so untrustworthy. However, the most urgent task at the moment is to rescue Anna and Nangong Shirong. Although both of them have reached the realm of rank 8 and are quite powerful, they are slightly insufficient when facing demons. Chu Yi is an exception. Although he only has rank 7 cultivation, he has surpassed the strength of most rank 9 superpowers. He can be called the monster among geniuses and the monster among monsters. Immediately afterwards, Chu Yi continued without hesitation. Fat man, let's rush to the United States Federal Congress immediately. I want to see with my own eyes the tricks of these two demons. His tone revealed firmness and determination. I want to see what they are going to do. Chu Yi frowned, anger condensed in his eyes, as if there was an endless murderous intention hidden, and there was a trace of suppressed anger in his voice. Moe Ocean, Xiao Lu, I want to see how you can escape this time. Brother Chu, let's go quickly. The fat man nodded, his eyes flashing with determination. He knew Chu Yi's determination, and the two of them would never let the devil succeed. The figures of Chu Yi and Fatty flashed quickly, at full speed. They shuttled through the sky at an astonishing speed, and arrived above the United States Federal Congress in 10 minutes. Moe Ocean, you shameless devil. Get out and die. Chu Yi's voice was cold and filled with murderous intent, echoing above the council. Little Moe Ocean, my brother Chu is here in person, why don't you come out to die? At the same time, the fat man's voice echoed through the entire parliament. HMPH. Chu Yi, you are finally here. Where is the Labas I want? Moe Ocean's voice suddenly sounded, as if coming from the void, which was creepy. Chu Yi's heart trembled. He stared closely at the surroundings, but did not find Moe Ocean's figure. He took a deep breath, gritted his teeth, and responded without showing any signs of weakness. Moe Ocean, Labas has disappeared, please release our people quickly. Missing. What does it have to do with me? If you don't bring Labas here, I will enjoy these two beauties first. Moe Ocean's voice sounded again, with a hint of cold ridicule. You little trash devil, don't let me go. Stop hiding and come out and fight if you can. Chu Yi was furious. He gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. At this moment, Chu Yi couldn't sense the exact location of Moe Ocean. This situation was really weird. He could hear the sound but couldn't find anyone. Moe Ocean must have some wonderful way to hide. This Moe Ocean really gave Chu Yi a headache, it was too tricky. What's more important is that this demon is very powerful and knows how to save his life. He's so stubborn. He didn't even show up at this time. Chu Yi, you actually want to use the provocation method. But it has no effect on a demon like me. Moe Ocean's voice echoed in the void again. As long as you can bring Labas to see me, I will naturally release these two women. Otherwise, ha ha ha, I haven't tasted human beings yet. In an instant, Chu Yi's body was filled with strong evil aura, as if an endless dark energy was surging in his body. Countless powers merged and merged on him, blooming around him like colorful beams of light, exuding a terrifying aura. Moe Ocean, if you dare to hurt them, I swear that I will destroy your demon clan in this life. Chu Yi was furious at this moment, his roar roaring like thunder. Fat man, go find Labas right now, and bring him over as soon as you find him. I will hold Moe Ocean back. Chu Yi's eyes were firm. He must handle this matter properly. Brother Chu, don't worry, I will definitely find that Labas. Fatty immediately understood what Chu Yi meant. He nodded, with a determined expression on his face. He stepped onto the somersault cloud, as fast as lightning. Fly away. Chu Yi watched the fat man's figure disappear into the sky, his heart filled with anticipation and anxiety, hope and worry intertwined. Immediately afterwards, Chu Yi shouted into the void, aren't you coming out yet? Moe Ocean, are you afraid of me? His voice echoed like thunder over the entire parliament. Afraid of you? I just don't want to waste my time on you. Suddenly, Moe Ocean's voice echoed from all directions, his voice was cold and ruthless, like the biting cold wind. However, Chu Yi still couldn't feel his presence, and he seemed to have disappeared from this world. His brows wrinkled slightly, and his heart was full of doubts. This feeling of only hearing his voice but not seeing his person is really weird. How should I trust you? If I really come with Labas, can you promise to let them go? Chu Yi's voice was firm and calm, revealing his confidence in himself. Don't worry, the purpose of our coming here is to beat Bess. These two little human bugs are of no importance to me. Mo Aoshin's voice sounded again, his voice full of ridicule and contempt. Ha ha. Chu Yi heard the words and smiled lightly, with a cold tone. There was a hint of indifference in his smile. You should also have seen that I have sent people to find Labas. Now I ask you to let the two of them go. Otherwise, I will kill Labas and everyone will have a hard time. Chu Yi, do you think I don't know your character? You can really understand a lot of things in half a month. For example, you Chu Yi, who has no strength, actually protects some civilian ants. It's really ridiculous. Mo Aoshin's sneering voice came, with disdain and sarcasm in his voice. So what? I'm not a cold-blooded devil like you. Chu Yi said with a smile, his voice revealing a hint of coldness and determination. Since you are so eager to find Labas, he must be very important to you. It's important. You don't want him to die either, right? You're just a human bug. How dare you threaten me? Mo Aoshin's voice was full of anger. Chu Yi's eyes were cold and he said without emotion, I didn't threaten you, but you'd better let them go now. There seemed to be a cold threat hidden in his words. Chu Yi, we are in another space. Suddenly, a voice came over. This is Anna's voice. In the dark and independent space, a crisp slap rang out, human little bug, who allowed you to speak? Xiaolu's voice echoed in the air, full of coldness. I saw Anna and Nangong Shirong being bound by a mysterious black chain. Chu Yi was in the outside world, frowning all the time. Anna just said that they were locked in another space, and he couldn't help but feel anxious in his heart. It's not easy, they are trapped in another space. The key is space, and I don't understand it either. Chu Yi kept thinking about countermeasures, and suddenly a crazy idea flashed in his mind, and he realized that the power he now possessed was too fragmented, so he decided to merge these powers so that his powers could undergo a qualitative transformation, but the risk of doing so was extremely high. HMPH. Wealth is in danger, let's fight. Chu Yi instantly activated all his powers. The powers of water, wood, poison, ice, thunder, fire and other elemental systems were intertwined on Chu Yi's body, forming a brilliant picture of supernatural powers. In an instant, Chu Yi felt that the power of extreme speed began to integrate into his body, blending with other powers. Immediately afterwards, the power of ice and the power of thunder and fire also joined the ranks of fusion. Finally, blending into the evil spirit, countless supernatural powers merged around Chu Yi's body, forming a terrifying and gorgeous energy vortex, with colorful light shining in it. But at this moment, a sudden change occurred, and the primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu began to operate automatically. Soon, Chu Yi felt a powerful force pouring out of the primordial origin Wuji Kung. Primordial origin Wuji Gong successfully broke through to the 9th level. A brand new power, primordial origin. It's wonderful. Primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu perfectly integrates all my powers. Not only that, it also makes me stronger than before. Chu Yi was ecstatic in his heart. Primordial origin Wuji is infinitely devouring and has the same characteristics as primordial origin Wuji Gong. With such power, Chu Yi believed that he would be able to kill Mo Aoshin and devour his power. But at this moment, Chu Yi felt troubled. He knew nothing about space. It was impossible to go to another space to save people now. I can release one of them. Mo Aoshin's voice echoed in the void again. HMPH. Chu Yi snorted angrily when he heard this. Stupid demons, if you have the ability to come out and fight me to the death, are you demons just cowards? He, the rat will give you a choice now. Who do you want to save? Choose one of the two. Mo Aoshin's teasing laughter sounded again, like a devil's sneer. This Mo Aoshin is really insidious. You must know that Anna is now a member of the Kunpeng group, and Nangong Shirong has a close relationship with Fatty, and they are almost even boyfriend and girlfriend. You. Chu Yi gritted his teeth, a helpless light flashed in his eyes, and his heart was filled with a deep sense of powerlessness. He felt helpless at the fact that he had extremely strong power. Mo Aoshin, you. So what if you are hiding in another dimension? However, just as this feeling of powerlessness gradually spread, a strong unyielding heart gradually came over. My fate is up to me. I can't help it. Chu Yi clenched the god-killing sword and roared angrily, arousing a huge momentum. He revealed it without hesitation. Tianju sword intent. Tianju sword intent. Primordial origin sword slash. With unparalleled terrifying power, his sword edge rushed straight into the void, trying to tear the space apart. There was a loud rumble, and the space began to tremble, but it did not shatter. Swish, swish, swish. Chu Yi used the primordial origin sword slash without stopping, mercilessly slashing towards the same point every time, again and again. The endless primordial origin sword slashes finally took effect, and weak cracks bloomed in the space, injecting a ray of hope into Chu Yi. 3 minutes later, Moe Ocean's ridicule came again. Chu Yi, I didn't expect you to be able to break the space, but what's the use? Even if you can break the space, do you think you can come in? I don't believe it anymore. If it doesn't work once, do it 10 times. If it doesn't work 10 times, do it 100 times. If it doesn't work 100 times, do it 1,000 times. 10,000 times. 100,000 times. Chu Yi ignored Moe Ocean's words. He didn't stop. Earth slashed and slashed at the crack in space with the primordial origin sword. Space is indeed a mysterious existence. But he did not believe in evil. Just as the sword light shattered the space, the cracks in the space slowly healed, as if they were wounds that were healing on their own. At this moment, in the mysterious space, he must be killed. This guy's talent is so amazing. He has already shown such terrifying strength even at a small rank 7 level. In the future, he will definitely become a huge threat to demon race. Moe Ocean, my heart was filled with waves of shock. However, at this critical moment, a huge interstellar battleship rushed in like a beast and cut through the sky, as if the entire sky was trembling. It was Labas, and the fat man came too. Moe Ocean, I'm here. If you have any problem, come to me. But you must not hurt other innocent people. The loudspeaker device amplified Labas's voice countless times and resounded through the sky. Moe Ocean finally appeared. His eyes were as sharp blades. He stared straight at Labas. There was a threat that could not be ignored in his tone. Labas, you finally showed up. Come back to us, evil demon race. Otherwise, you know the consequences. However, at this tense moment, Chu Yi appeared behind Labas like a bolt of lightning, and the god-killing sword was pressed against his neck mercilessly. Moe Ocean, don't act rashly. Otherwise I will kill Labas without hesitation. Chu Yi warned coldly, and then he threatened again, release Anna and Nangong Shirong immediately. When Moe Ocean heard this, he was immediately furious. As a noble member of the Dark Lord clan, how could he allow the human bug to be so arrogant? He said angrily, why should I believe you? The human bug threatened me twice in one day. Sooner or later, I will pull out your muscles and bones, and put your soul in a magic lantern to be tortured forever. A strange and treacherous smile appeared at the corner of Chu Yi's mouth, and he responded without hesitation, it's wonderful, stupid devil, you dare to be so arrogant. He held the god-killing sword in his hand and stabbed it in without hesitation. Pulled Bess's chest. Master Chu Yi, you. However, Labas miraculously did not feel any pain. Labas instantly understood Chu Yi's plan and remained silent. Stupid devil, if you make me very unhappy now, then he will have no choice but to die. Chu Yi smiled evilly, with a mocking arc at the corner of his mouth, and his words were provocative. Moe Ocean was stunned for a moment. How dare this person do it? He still had hostages in hand. However, Labas was crucial to demon race. Moe Ocean immediately made a compromise and said, don't kill him, I will let those 2 people go now. I'll count to 3. If I don't see anyone, Labas' life will be over. Chu Yi threatened coldly, 3, 2. Just when Chu Yi counted to the second time, Anna and Nangong Shirong suddenly appeared on the interstellar battleship. Very good. Call that female devil out now. Chu Yi said with satisfaction. I have released him, please hand over Labas right now. Upon hearing this, Moe Ocean suddenly felt a surge of anger at being fooled. Ha ha. Chu Yi smiled, with a hint of disdain in his tone, and responded coldly, don't worry. Moe Ocean, Labas is still alive and well now. Now, hand over the female demon named Sha Lu and use her in exchange for Labas. Chu Yi remained calm. When Moe Ocean heard this, the flames of anger burned in his eyes, and he roared angrily, human bug, don't push yourself too far. Chu Yi's face was filled with a joking smile, and he said provocatively, what's wrong with me if I just push the envelope? You bite me. Lucia, come out and exchange for labas. Moe Ocean suppressed the anger in his heart. In the void, the demon Lucia slowly appeared. She slowly walked to Chuyi and stood in front of him. Chuyi instantly transformed into a god-killing spear and stabbed it into the chest of the demon Lucia without hesitation. That's you. You slapped Anna, right? Cold words fell gently from Chuyi's mouth, with a frosty chill in his voice. At this moment, Anna looked at Chuyi resolutely taking action for her. Her eyes instantly flushed with excitement, and she fell into a beautiful fantasy. He must like me. What should we call our future child? Quote. Lucia, who was stabbed in the chest by Chuyi, shouted unwillingly, human bug, human ant. How dare you kill me? The evil demon race will not let you go, nor will he let Blue Star go. There were traces of anger and fear in her voice. Moe Ocean stared at Chuyi closely, furious and wanted to eat him alive. Can you give labas to me now? He gritted his teeth and made a rattling sound. Chuyi nonchalantly pulled out the god-killing sword from Laba's chest and injected a ray of life force into Laba's body. No, not yet, he said with a teasing smile. I'm in a bad mood right now. When I feel better one day, it won't be too late to hand over labas to you. There was a kind of indifference and disdain in his tone. Moe Ocean suddenly realized that he had been tricked by Chuyi. Labas is too important to his evil demon race and must be captured alive. Chuyi, how dare you play tricks on me? I'll kill you, a human bug. Moe Ocean suddenly spread his demon wings and flew toward Chuyi quickly. Haha, this is the moment I've been waiting for. Chuyi couldn't help but chuckle, holding the god-killing spear tightly in his hand, facing Moe Ocean's impact without showing any signs of weakness. God-killing spear technique, primordial origin Wuji style. The demonic energy is burning, the dark demon king's sword. Moe Ocean's eyes instantly ignited with raging demonic flames, and the demonic sword slashed towards Chuyi in an instant. In an instant, there was a loud bang, and the battle between Moe Ocean and Chuyi burst into dazzling light over the United States Federal Congress. Chuyi's primordial origin Wuji style emphasizes using no moves to win with all moves, and it can change in an instant. Bang, bang, bang. Moe Ocean's dark demon king sword collided with Chuyi's god-killing spear, causing endless energy aftermath. The battle between the two was like two lightning bolts crisscrossing the sky in the dark, so fast that others could hardly catch a trace. At this moment, Anna on the star battleship was looking at the battle in the sky with a worried look. Lord Chuyi is so strong. He was able to fight Moe Ocean to such an extent. Laba's eyes widened in surprise and his mouth was speechless. Anna stared at Nangong Shirong nervously and asked eagerly, Sister Shirong, do you think Chuyi will win? Nangong Shirong frowned and said solemnly, their fighting speed is too fast, I can't see their movements clearly at all. Fatty shouted excitedly, Brother Chu will definitely win. Brother Chu, kill that useless demon. Fatty knew Chuyi's power, and the god-killing spear was a legendary existence. At this time, above the sky, human insect, you are too weak. Moe Ocean said mockingly, his voice like a roaring evil ghost. Haha, stupid devil, you don't understand anything at all. Chuyi sneered. Scars were all over Chuyi's body, and the demonic aura on these scars revealed a heart-stopping evil, which looked shocking. However, in fact, these scars did not have much impact on Chuyi. He has a god-killing demonic body, and his body is constantly absorbing the demonic energy from the wounds. In stark contrast, Moe Ocean had no scars on his body. Only now did Chuyi realize that Moe Ocean turned out to be a space demon. He was so fast that he could not attack Moe Ocean. Whenever Chuyi's god-killing spear is about to attack Moe Ocean, his figure will suddenly disappear and appear in another unexpected place, which is extremely weird. The battle continues. The wounds on Chuyi's body were gradually increasing at this moment, but he still showed vitality and did not look tired at all. Impossible. Chuyi, my demonic energy can't kill you. Moe Ocean couldn't help but began to notice something strange about Chuyi. He. Chuyi let out a sarcastic laugh, just a little devilish energy, you want to kill me too. Moe Ocean's eyes were sharp and he said, Chuyi, I will remember you. If you have the ability, don't show up to Blue Star. Otherwise, the next time we meet, it will be your death. Moe-ocean, don't even think about running away. Chu-yi's eyes turned cold when he heard these words. As soon as he finished speaking, Moe-ocean had disappeared without a trace like a ghost. Oh, should we let him escape? Chu-yi frowned. Moe-ocean's space power is really unbelievable. He is now eager to devour this power. Chu-yi stepped on heavy steps and trudged back to the cabin of the interstellar battleship. On his face, scars intertwined into a pale canvas. His eyes were blood red, revealing unspeakable pain and exhaustion. His body was covered in blood, and the bright red liquid seeped into his clothes, forming a sharp contrast with his pale skin. These scars and bloodstains made any witness unable to bear to take a closer look. I didn't expect that Moe-ocean was so strong, even I would be injured. Brother Chu, are you okay? The fat man approached Chu-yi, his brows furrowed, and his voice was worried. And Anna rushed to Chu-yi anxiously and grabbed his arm tightly. Chu-yi, how are you? Does it hurt? I'm going to ask Leah to treat you now. Her voice was full of concern. I'm fine, don't worry, everyone. Chu-yi was moved when he heard this, and waved his hands, indicating that this minor injury was nothing to worry about. He has more important things to do now, which is to destroy the Japanese country. Robs, now that your star battleship has been repaired, it's time to fulfill your promise. He stared at Robs closely, his voice cold and sharp. Yes, Master Chu-yi. Robs looked at Chu-yi's cold eyes and suddenly felt a chill coming over him, and he broke out in cold sweat. Don't be nervous. Chu-yi smiled softly, then, let's set off now. Labas immediately walked to the console and tapped his fingertips on the virtual screen. In less than a second, the interstellar battleship had quickly transmigrated the sky and arrived over the Japanese country. Chu-yi was surprised. It was incredible that this interstellar battleship was so fast. Is this the so-called technology? Suddenly his eyes lit up, an idea flashed, and a brilliant plan ignited in his mind. Is there any way to make everyone in the Japanese country die in pain, at least for a month? Chu-yi's eyes shone with a cold light, and his tone revealed deep hatred. When Robs heard this, he immediately felt a chill in his heart. Chu-yi's cruelty was beyond imagination. Not only did he want to destroy the Japanese country, he also wanted to torture them first and then destroy them. This is simply a murderous maniac. But he still explained patiently. Of course there is, and there are many painful ways, such as cutting, burning, etc. Just use all the methods. Chu-yi was a little impatient and interrupted Labas. Labas nodded stiffly and replied, Okay, Master Chu-yi. He felt extremely bitter in his heart. He was really under the eaves and had to bow his head. Then Labas added, Sir Chu-yi, this kind of weapon of mass destruction is only effective against ordinary people. It may be completely ineffective against people with superpowers. Well, I understand. Chu-yi nodded to express his understanding. It was enough to have this effect. As for the superpowers of the Japanese country, he had his own way to deal with them. At this moment, the highest prime minister of the Japanese country, Shippy bites me. His tall and mighty figure highlights his majesty as the patriarch of the Japanese family Shabi. He exudes a frightening Sabi aura, which makes people feel pity for him. The situation is urgent at this moment. Labas's interstellar battleship is already suspended in the sky above the Japanese country, approaching menacingly. Shabi looked at the document handed over by his subordinates, frowned, and said with doubts, Alien battleship. Are there really aliens? The subordinate replied tremblingly, Yes, Mr. Prime Minister, according to intelligence, they seem to be preparing to attack us. Hearing this, Shabi bit me and said calmly, Please tell General Shabi that there is no need for Lieutenant General Shabi to participate this time. He is really stupid. The subordinates responded respectfully, Yes, Prime Minister. Japanese War Headquarters. This time it was not Lieutenant General Shabi who was in charge, but the legendary General Shabi, deputy chief of the Shabi family. He asked his subordinates majestically, Can we achieve effective communication with that alien warship? The subordinate immediately replied, Sir, we tried our best, but they seemed to ignore us. And they only said one sentence in reply. What did they say? General Shabi frowned. The subordinates replied submissively. They said, Shabi, rubbish. Upon hearing this, General Shabi slammed the table angrily, and the table immediately shattered into countless pieces. In this case, we must destroy the alien warship, and notify the American Federation immediately. Ask for their help. On the other side, Chuyi on the interstellar battleship can't wait. He has been waiting for this day for too long. Launch, he shouted excitedly. Following Chuyi's order, a mysterious huge black muzzle appeared below the interstellar battleship. In the blink of an eye, a dark beam of light rushed straight into the center of the Japanese kingdom like lightning, hitting the earth instantly. The black strange energy beam instantly hit the land of Japan, and then, this black energy began to gradually spread. After a while, black energy completely enveloped the entire Japanese country. What's going on? No response. Chuyi was stunned. The Japanese people didn't respond at all. They act like nothing happened. Chuyi was confused and asked Labas, please explain. Why is this happening? Master Chuyi, please listen to my explanation. This is actually a normal phenomenon. Labas heard this, with a serious look on his face, and replied in a cautious tone, Ram rays do not directly act on the surface of the human body, but directly affect the human body. Genetic, neural and cellular levels. So there won't be a noticeable reaction the first day. Immediately afterwards, Robs continued to explain in depth. Ram rays will initially attack the genes of the human body, causing the genes to lose their ability to resist. At the same time, they amplify nerve pain and destroy cell structures. So. In this way, people will feel all kinds of severe pain. When the pain nerves are amplified countless times, this kind of torture is enough to hurt people to death. Finally, Labas came to the final conclusion. Chuyi had some understanding and nodded. Although he didn't fully understand it, it did sound very scary. Is this a biological weapon? Nangong Shirong couldn't help but exclaimed. Anna was curious about this, and she couldn't wait to ask, what are biochemical weapons? The fat man boldly interjected, Resident Evil. Haven't you seen it? There was a hint of pride in his words, as if he was showing off his extensive knowledge. Nangong Shirong glared at the fat man, feeling a little helpless at his nonsensical answer. No matter when and where, Fatty always likes to say things that others can't understand, making people confused. Labas explained again. Actually, this is not a biological weapon in the true sense. Real biological weapons are much more terrifying than this and can cause more catastrophic consequences. In our Ram planet, this kind of weapons can only be considered ordinary and will only cause harm to ordinary people. Anyone who has been injected with genetic medicine can be immune to this weapon. In our Ram star, this kind of weapon has long been outdated. His tone there is a hint of pride in it, which is pride for one's own planet. Chuyi was shocked and confused when he heard this information. Genetic medicine, biochemical weapon, isn't this something from a movie? He turned to look at Labas and asked with confusion on his face, don't you practice supernatural powers? Labas sighed and said with some helplessness, we do not have superpowers on Ram planet, but we do have foreign superpowers. Because we cannot awaken, our race cannot awaken supernatural powers. There was a hint of helplessness and sadness in his voice, as if he was describing a doomed fate. Please like and subscribe. Chapter 91. Chuyi learned various information about Ramstar from Labas. This is simply a purely technological civilization. It's not that they don't want to practice superpowers, but that they simply can't awaken superpowers. Chuyi is a little yearning. If he has a chance, he must go and see it. After all, the universe is so big, and Chuyi also wants to see it. At this moment, Fatty and Nangong Shirong appeared from a distance. Fatty took big steps and said, Brother Chu, I would like to invite Shirong to join our Kunpeng group. What do you think? His eyes revealed anticipation. When Chuyi heard the words, he nodded slightly, raised the corners of his mouth, and whispered to the fat man, Hey. It's okay, as long as you are not afraid of being struck by lightning often. A drop of cold sweat flowed from the fat man's forehead, he had miscalculated. Fat man should have told you about the situation of our Kunpeng group. Chuyi turned to Nangong Shirong and asked with a serious expression, have you really decided to join us? Of course, as long as the fat man is there, I will be there. Nangong Shirong smiled elegantly, her voice revealed determination, and her eyes stared at the fat man with a soft light. Very good. From now on, Nangong Shirong, you are a member of our Kunpeng group. Chuyi nodded with satisfaction, his voice full of inspiring power. Anna looked at Chuyi, as if she was happy for him, and said, "Congratulations, great, Sister Shirong, now you and Fatty can be together again." Her voice was full of joy. Looking at the scene in front of him, Chuyi felt a surge of pride in his heart, as if he could feel the blazing fire burning in his chest. "Ha ha ha," Chuyi laughed boldly, "there is a fish in the North Ming dynasty. Its name is Kun. Kun is so big that it is unknown how many thousands of miles it is. It turns into a bird and its name is Peng. What we have to do is be that person who is omnipotent in heaven and on earth." Somehow, a huge phantom of a rock suddenly appeared behind Chuyi, and it let out a thundering cry that resounded throughout the sky. Fatty and Nangong Shirong were also infected by Chuyi's momentum. "What we want to do is to be a person who is omnipotent in heaven and on earth," Fatty said excitedly. Anna stared at Chuyi intently, her eyes flashing with the feeling that her heart was about to jump out. Time flies, and one day passes in the blink of an eye. In the country of Japan, an extremely strange scene enveloped the entire country. The extremely weak atmosphere has forced 130 million civilians into endless fear. They felt pain that they had never experienced before, and their bodies gradually lost strength, as if they had been deprived of the source of life by invisible forces. The next day, the situation in Japan became even more dire. The number of people falling sick is increasing. They are lying in bed, unable to get up. The unbearable pain forced them to face desperate choices. Some people choose to commit suicide in search of relief from the painful torture. On the third day, the situation of Japan worsened. Those who are old, weak, sick and disabled have reached their limit, and their bodies can no longer endure the torture of this disease. Gradually, they began to give up resistance, as if they were being swallowed by the darkness of despair. Seeing that the light of life will be extinguished, they wait silently for their fate to come. On the fourth day, horrific scenes continued to take place in Japan. Suicides continue to pour in, and the unbearable pain makes them choose to flee. Between desperation and desperation, they chose a more extreme way, hoping to escape this unspeakable pain through death. On the fifth day, the Japanese nation fell into endless sorrow. The death toll has exceeded 5 million, most of them the elderly, weak, sick and disabled. Their lives are like withered leaves, leaving this world silently. Medical hospitals are overflowing and sadly, even medical staff have to succumb to the onslaught of this disease. Japan, a land of sorrow and despair, seems to be shrouded in darkness and can no longer find the light of hope. On the sixth day, a frightening scene filled the streets of various cities in Japan. Countless people groaned in pain, and their voices pierced the silent night sky like blades. "Ah, it hurts." A young woman knelt down on the street, her voice full of despair. It was as if an invisible blade was raging on her body, tearing her skin apart, making her feel an indescribable pain. "Fire. Every inch of my body seems to be enveloped in flames. Ice. I need ice to save me." A middle-aged man shouted with a twisted face. His body was soaked with sweat, as if he was about to burn to ashes. "Come and kill me. It seems like there are countless ants crawling on my body." A young man scratched his skin frantically, his eyes full of despair and pain. "Ah, it itches. My whole body seems to be bitten by countless mosquitoes." A woman's face was red, her hands had been scratched by her nails, and blood dripped on the ground. "Pain. I can't bear this kind of pain. Someone please end my life." A middle-aged man held a kitchen knife and shouted crazily to others, his eyes full of despair and pain. And the Japanese man who snatched the kitchen knife made a shocking choice in an instant. He stabbed the kitchen knife into his chest without hesitation, and bright red blood spurted out from his body, intertwined with the cries of pain in the street. The streets and alleys of the entire Japanese kingdom, from the gorgeous hotels to the street vendors, were filled with endless cries of pain. This country has become a reflection of hell on earth. Everyone is shrouded in pain, as if there is no hope. At this time, in the general command room of the interstellar battleship, Chuyi stared closely at the Japanese video played on the screen. "Labas, didn't you say you can make them suffer for a month?" Chuyi frowned, turned to Labas and asked, "Look, these Japanese countries only lasted 6 days, and these Japanese countries are almost dying." After Labas heard Chuyi's words, he immediately tapped the keyboard quickly on the virtual screen, his fingers dancing like lightning. He watched the data flow on the screen intently, his eyes revealing deep thinking and research enthusiasm. After a while, Labas replied seriously, Master Chuyi, after careful analysis with instruments, the physical quality of the Japanese people is generally relatively low. It seems that it is because there is something wrong with the water they drink for a long time. His voice was low and powerful, as if revealing a deep secret. The test results show, the water is poisonous. His eyes were fixed on the flashing numbers on the screen, and his face was filled with determination. Especially their kidney function, it seems not ideal. Laba's voice trembled slightly, revealing his shock and disbelief at this discovery. The analysis showed that the result turned out to be this. Laba's face couldn't help but become weird. His brows furrowed, and a look of disbelief crossed his face for a moment. Seeing that Labas was silent, Chuyi asked anxiously, Tell me, what are the analysis results? Labas hummed awkwardly and reluctantly said, Master Chuyi, you'd better take a look at this for yourself. Chuyi's curiosity was aroused even more intensely. He immediately walked to Labas and stared at the line of words displayed on the virtual screen. Kidney failure analysis results. Excessive mating and long-term drinking of poisonous water. This is so funny. Chuyi was stunned for a moment. He couldn't believe it. There was such a reason. However, Chuyi no longer cares about so much at this moment. He originally planned to start taking action in 20 days, but now the situation no longer allows him to wait any longer. Chuyi quickly summoned Anna, Fatty, and Nangong Shirong. The plan has changed, we must act immediately. Chuyi said firmly, and his eyes were firm. The operation to destroy the Japanese officially begins now. His words seemed to ignite the flames of war instantly. Great, great, my big stick is already so thirsty. The fat man danced with excitement and couldn't help but cheer. His body seemed to be filled with passion. Chuyi, didn't it say it would start in 20 days? Anna asked doubtfully, with a hint of worry in her eyes. Team leader, what happened? Why did it take so long? Nangong Shirong expressed doubts, her brows furrowed, revealing her inner doubts. So. Chuyi patiently explained the ins and outs of the matter. I see. Everyone was immediately speechless and fell into silence. Are these Japanese people beasts? Only know about breeding. 10 minutes later, the four of them had flown over the Japanese country, preparing to launch an operation to destroy the Japanese. Chuyi waved his hand and said, The three of you will kill towards the southwest. I will kill towards the north alone. Not long after, the four people quickly separated, and 4 streams of light pierced the sky, swooping down like lightning. Chuyi flew towards the north alone, with a trace of cruelty in his eyes. But Fatty, Nangong Shirong and Anna started killing towards the southwest without hesitation. Their goal is clear, kill Japanese people on sight. Chuyi stepped on the ground of Tokyo City, exuding a powerful aura. Primordial origin clone, he shouted in a low voice, and suddenly, Judao's identical clones appeared like phantoms. This is Chuyi's newly realized primordial origin clone. Each one has the same powerful strength as the original body and all abilities including the god-killing spear. It is simply unparalleled. However, these clones do not have independent thinking ability, and their thinking needs to rely on Chuyi's body. It can be said that Chuyi's mental power must be dispersed into 9 parts in order to control these 9 clones, which also makes this move extremely draining of mental power. Chuyi stared at the dilapidated scene on the street, with fallen bodies everywhere, and the mournful and shrill cries filled his ears. Ha, you are reaping the consequences for yourself. Chuyi didn't feel any pity in his heart. His 9 primordial origin clones are as strong as the wind, and each clone is holding the god-killing spear tightly, constantly killing Japanese people. These Japanese people were like pigs and dogs waiting to be slaughtered, falling one by one under Chuyi's god-killing spear. Chuyi and his 9 primordial origin clones slaughtered the Japanese people mercilessly, and every time they waved the god-killing spear in their hands, there was an unrivaled aura of death. They shuttled across the battlefield mercilessly, like endless demons, heading north. The ground was stained with blood, and the red liquid shone horribly in the sun, like a terrifying picture. The corpse fell to the ground in a mess, filled with a strong fishy smell, as if it was the breath of death itself. The killing is in full swing. On the other side, in the dark universe, far away from the blue star, a huge and gorgeous starship was floating quietly. In the command room inside the starship, a woman wearing a mecha appeared in front of everyone. She was Limernia, one of the war officers of the Ram Star War Department. Limernia. Limernia's voice sounded clear and majestic, and she asked her subordinates, "Has the location of the Labas starship been detected?" "Captain, we have detected the whereabouts of Labas. He is currently located on a planet 10 light-years away from us. The strangest thing is that there is no cosmic spiritual energy on this planet." The subordinate's voice was filled with excitement. Feeling surprised, Limernia was stunned for a moment after hearing this, and then hurriedly said, "The universe is filled with cosmic spiritual energy. This is common sense." Seeing this, the subordinate patiently explained again, "There is an unknown power on this blue planet, which can be supplied to a small number of people for cultivation. The humans there call it spiritual energy." Didi. Suddenly, several flashing beeps came from the starship's virtual screen, and a figure appeared immediately. Limernia reacted instantly, and she understood that she had contacted Labas. Her voice was full of urgency, and she said anxiously, "Labes, I finally found you." "I didn't expect it to be you, Limernia, one of the war officers of the Lem War Department." There was a hint of surprise in Labas' tone. "Robs, how are you doing now? My mission is to bring you back to Ram Star safely." Limernia's face became solemn, she frowned and stared at Robs. "The current situation is a bit complicated. The demon that evil demon race has left, I can say that I am safe for the time being." Labas took a deep breath, his expression looked a little tired, and there was a hint of helplessness in his voice. "However, it is expected to take another month to meet you." Limernia's brows widened and she said, "I understand." Call ended. In this way, 3 days passed in a hurry. At this moment, the Japanese country was almost destroyed. Almost all of the 130 million Japanese people perished, leaving only a negligible 1%, but they were also close to death. Spark City, Meeting Hall. At this time, there were only Chuyi and Labas, and Fatty and the others were already busy with affairs in Spark City. Chuyi's eyes fell on Labas and he said calmly, "You have fulfilled your promise. Now that there are no demons chasing you anymore, you can leave." However, Labasi quickly stopped Chuyi and said sheepishly, "Master Chuyi, can you please let me stay in Spark City for a while?" Chuyi frowned and asked, "Whatever you want, but what is your purpose?" Upon hearing this, Robs immediately said, "Lord Chuyi, to be honest, I want to form an alliance with you. You, an alien, want to ally with me." When Chuyi heard these words, he frowned slightly and felt a little confused, then asked, "Then in what capacity do you ally with me?" Labas stood up straighter and said proudly, "I am the Chief Technology Officer of Ram Star Technology Department." Chuyi raised his eyebrows and asked, "Then what can you bring me?" "And what can I bring you?" Labas smiled mysteriously and said firmly, "Master Chuyi, I know what you need most now." Chuyi's eyes lit up and he asked curiously, "Oh, do you know what I need?" Spark City needs genetic medicine and standard weapons for the self-protection of the people. Some technologies that are beneficial to the development of the city, and some civilian technology products, and I will also give you my star battleship. Labas staring at Chuyi closely, his eyes revealed firmness and determination. "So, what do you want me to do?" Chuyi heard this and immediately became alert. This alien actually gave so many things. If something goes wrong, there must be a monster. Labas sighed and said helplessly, "Lord Chuyi, our planet Ram is launching an interstellar war with planet Pus, and we need your help." "So that's it, it's war again." Chuyi sighed helplessly, "It seems that no matter where you are, war is always everywhere. The Earth in the previous life was filled with wars, and now Blue Star is not immune to it. Even aliens are starting interstellar wars." However, Chuyi did not dare to agree to war so easily. Although he did not like war, he would not risk the death of his own people. "Why do you believe that I can help you? After all, this is an interstellar war. This is not playing house." Labas heard this and responded with a firm expression, "Master Chuyi, you are the most evil genius I have ever seen. If we can get your help, our chances of winning will be even greater." After hearing this, Chuyi thought for a long time in silence. After carefully weighing the pros and cons, he finally decided, "I can temporarily form an alliance with you, but only temporarily." His heart was full of various thoughts and doubts. If Ramshing took the initiative to provoke this war, He could turn his back at any time to avoid being used as a weapon by this alien. Of course, Labas responded with a smile. Eventually, this tentative alliance was formed. At this moment, in the hall of the United States Federal Congress, several people were sitting tightly together, and the atmosphere was solemn and tense. The Japanese country was destroyed, and only a few superpowers were left to survive. What do you think? Pelosi's voice suddenly sounded, breaking the silence. Pelosi's subordinates were stunned when they heard this. What? The Japanese country was destroyed? No way. Who did it? The Japanese country was fine a month ago. How long ago was it destroyed? Did the Shang kingdom destroy it? Pelosi sighed and continued to explain. The destruction of the Japanese country may appear to be the work of aliens, but it is actually the work of Chu Yi. The subordinates were extremely shocked by the news. They were in disbelief. What kind of international joke was this? Is that the 19-year-old kid Chu Yi? How could he be so terrifying and even be able to collude with aliens? Alien invasion. We are actually facing the threat of alien invasion. Pelosi ignored the shock of these people and spoke again. Chu Yi has grown up now and is getting stronger. Let's stop the war on the Uzbek side for now. We no longer have any effective means. Let's deal with Chu Yi. As long as we don't start a war, Chu Yi shouldn't point the finger at our country, the United States. At this time, Chu Yi and Anna were sitting opposite each other in the meeting hall of Spark City. Chu Yi stared at Anna, took out a black light core, and said firmly, "This black light core is prepared for you. Once you absorb it, your talent will make a qualitative leap." Anna stared at the core of black light in front of her. She couldn't help feeling that it contained a terrifying power, and asked hesitantly, "Chu Yi, are you sure this is for me? I can feel that its power is extraordinary." "It's ordinary. Why don't you use it?" Chu Yi did not hesitate, and said with a domineering tone in his tone, "Of course it's for you. Do you dare to refuse?" When Anna heard this, she jumped up with joy and hugged Chu Yi without hesitation. The two soft balls in front of her rubbed against Chu Yi's arms. Chu Yi felt speechless. He immediately broke away and said dissatisfied, "Are you looking for a fight? I can help you." Anna was stunned for a moment, and then said mischievously, "Then come and hit me." "Ha ha, someone actually has such a weird request." In an instant, Chu Yi raised his fist without any scruples and hit Anna's body hard. Anna instantly flew several meters away as if being shot from a slingshot. "This is your own fight, don't blame me." Chu Yi couldn't help but teased proudly. "Chu Yi, you gave me such a precious thing, but why did you still reject me?" Anna stared at Chu Yi angrily, her voice carrying a trace of sadness and confusion that could not be concealed. "Why? Why on earth?" Chu Yi sighed softly, his eyes falling on Anna's face. "Do you really want to know the reason?" Anna nodded firmly. "Of course, tell me why you don't like me." Chu Yi's voice revealed a trace of hesitation. "It's not that I don't like you, but I don't like those who are too big. You are too big." Chu Yi pointed at both sides of Anna's chest, and the meaning was self-evident. Too big. Anna looked down at her breasts, her brows furrowed, and she looked at Chu Yi with confusion on her face. There was a hint of helplessness in her tone. "Chu Yi, why didn't you tell me earlier? If you don't like it, I can cut it off for you." "Ha ha, I was just kidding, I didn't expect you to actually believe it." Chu Yi smiled broadly, his voice relaxed in a hint of ridicule. "Chu Yi, what exactly do you need me to do before you can accept me? Can you tell me?" Anna bit her lips slightly, her eyes full of expectation. Chu Yi frowned. He didn't want to answer this question. Anna was very beautiful. If she were in the previous life, she would have been a goddess-like existence. In terms of her family background, she is the daughter of the great emperor of the Bear Country. In terms of her strength, she is rank 8. A capable person. Her existence is simply a nightmare for white and rich beauties. Chu Yi replied thoughtfully, "Why do you like me?" This is really a troublesome question. Anna looked at Chu Yi firmly, a trace of perseverance flashed in her eyes, and said firmly, "Since that time we fought side by side, I have." Chu Yi was silent, his thoughts rolling in memories, and time seemed to have stopped. After a long silence, he still couldn't understand why she was so persistent. "Oh, it seems that I can only use this white lie." Chu Yi sighed in his heart, feeling a deep helplessness in his heart. "Anna, as long as I realize my dream, I will marry you." Chu Yi finally spoke, with a heavy and firm tone in his tone. Anna's eyes were filled with expectation for an instant, as if stars were shining in her pupils, and she asked softly, "Then what is your dream?" Chu Yi stared at Anna, with a deep light shining in his eyes, showing the determination deep in his heart. His voice was firm and passionate, and he said every word. "I dream of building a peaceful world, a world without the shadow of war. A world of complete equality." A look of disappointment appeared on Anna's face, her brows furrowed slightly, and there was a hint of helplessness in her voice. "This dream seems too far away, and it seems that it will never be realized." Chu Yi's voice was full of firm belief and determination, and he answered unwaveringly, "It is precisely because it seems out of reach that we need to work hard. As long as we continue to practice and strengthen ourselves, this dream will not be possible. It's an unattainable dream again." Anna's eyes shone with hope, and a strong confidence surged in her heart. Her voice was full of expectation and longing, and she said, "Really?" Chu Yi's words were full of passion and motivation, and he replied with a smile, "Of course, I swear. We have to practice hard. Soon, we will go to Kunlun Mountain, which is an excellent place to quickly improve our strength." Anna nodded happily, feeling full of confidence and expectation. She is determined to decide on this man. The day flies by in a flash. Inside the star battleship, Chu Yi stared closely at Labas and asked in a low and firm voice, "Is everything ready?" Labas said without hesitation, "Master Chu Yi, you are ready. You can start at any time." "Then let's start." Chu Yi showed a firm and decisive expression. Upon hearing this, Labas immediately started the instrument and activated the holographic projection. Suddenly, Chu Yi's figure was magnified countless times and appeared in various locations in the Dragon Kingdom wasteland. Different locations were also projected. In an instant, all the people of the Dragon Kingdom witnessed Chu Yi's figure almost in unison. "What is this? How can a person be so big? It feels like a projection. Otherwise it wouldn't be so big." Ahem. Chu Yi cleared his throat, his voice like a passionate war drum, shaking every corner of the entire Dragon Kingdom. "Dear fellow Dragon Kingdom compatriots, hello everyone. I am Chu Yi, and I am also a Dragon Kingdom person. Perhaps, many people know something about me. Yes, I am the most brutal criminal in history. But those are not important anymore. Now, I sincerely invite all the people in the wasteland to come and settle in Spark City. We will do our best to protect your safety. In Spark City, I, Chu Yi, guarantee that everyone enjoys equal rights, and there will be no more deaths, shadows, and no threat from alien beasts. Even if there is a threat, I, Chu Yi, swear that I will do my best to protect you, even at the cost of my life. If this world is really so cold and dark, I, Chu Yi, will burn my own life and bloom a weak spark. No matter how weak the spark is, as long as we continue to move forward and continue, one day, the spark will ignite the weeds will burn the shrubs, and the shrubs will spread to the big trees. In the end, the small spark will burn in this cold darkness. The world, set off a prairie fire, illuminate the whole world. A single spark can start a prairie fire. The location of Spark City is." Chu Yi's voice resounded through the sky, like a shining star, leading the people in the wasteland area toward a new place of hope. At this moment, the hearts of the civilians in the Dragon Kingdom were deeply touched. They couldn't help but shed tears because someone finally stood up and spoke for civilians like them. This long dark era has caused them pain for too long. At this moment, on the other side, in Shangguan's home. "It's really sad. I didn't expect you to be such a person, Chu Yi." Shangguan Lingwei suddenly exuded a powerful aura. If anyone were here, they would definitely hear a dragon roar coming from her body. This was her official entry into the world. The symbol of rank 9. You actually believe that everyone is equal hundreds of years ago. It's so ridiculous. You actually want to uphold justice for ordinary people. Why does such a person have such a powerful talent? She really couldn't understand. For Chu Yi like this as a person, why can his talent surpass his own? After a long time, a solemn atmosphere filled the conference hall of Spark City. Chu Yi, Anna, Fatty, Nangong Shirong, Zheng Xin and Labas, as well as rank 9 humanoid sand scorpion, gathered around a large carved wooden table. Through the information I spread across the country this time, our Spark City will definitely welcome a large number of civilians. And I have some ideas, and I will tell you now. Chu Yi was the first to break the silence. His voice was sonorous and powerful, full of confidence and determination. First of all, Fatty and Nangong Shirong, as a family with supernatural powers, your Nangong family will be responsible for guiding these civilians into Spark City and providing them with proper resettlement measures. Secondly, Little Scorpion, you are the security captain of Spark City. You will be responsible for any casualties in Spark City. Third, Zheng Xin, the Zheng family's supplies must be transported in time, otherwise the civilians will face hunger. They are not our superpowers and do not need to eat. Fourth, Labas, you will be responsible for the construction of Spark City and use Ramstar's advanced technology to continuously improve and perfect the city. Fifth, Anna, you are a light attribute user with the fastest speed. You will be responsible for delivering important messages. Finally, I, Chu Yi, will do my best to expand Spark City until it can accommodate all the civilians of Dragon Kingdom. His words were full of passion and determination, and everyone felt his determination. Okay, everyone nodded, indicating that they fully agreed with Chu Yi's plan. They all know that only through unity and cooperation can Spark City become more prosperous. Everyone is going all out to work and is proceeding in an orderly manner. Chu Yi, on the other hand, did not hesitate to separate 9 primordial origin clones. Each clone condensed the power of water and wood attributes, and quickly and orderly carried out the expansion of Spark City. With Chu Yi's efforts, tree houses connected to the mother tree gradually emerged. Each house has 3 floors and looks extremely natural, without steel bars or concrete. The 9 primordial origin clones are operating efficiently, and each figure is constantly expanding and busy. However, for Chu Yi's body, this exhaustive expansion undoubtedly caused a huge drain on his spirit. He felt as if he was being pulled by countless small forces. Each clone represented a part of his spiritual power, and he had to maintain contact with them at all times to ensure that they could successfully complete their tasks. Every expansion required him to invest a huge amount of mental energy, and his mind constantly shuttled between the clones, operating like a sophisticated machine. Despite this, Chu Yi firmly believes that this effort is worth it, because only in this way can he complete a large amount of expansion in a short period of time. Half a month passed in a hurry, as if in an instant, Spark City had expanded to an astonishing extent. Today's Spark City has spread, occupying an area of more than 20,000 square kilometers. The huge scale has exceeded that of Yanjing City, which is shocking. Chu Yi was in a very good mood and returned to the core area of Spark City. The sight in front of him amazed him. Spark City had become different at this moment, full of technology and natural atmosphere. The roads are as smooth as mirrors, and various high-tech facilities are available. The perfect combination of nature and technology is displayed here. However, at this moment, a young and beautiful woman suddenly called him. Mr. Chu Yi, are you Mr. Chu Yi? Her voice was clear and sweet, full of youthful vitality. I'm Chu Yi, what's the matter with you? Chu Yi frowned. He didn't seem to recognize this woman. It seems that he is still a rank 6 superpower. It is really not easy to reach this level at this age. Li Shuier said helplessly. Please help me, Mr. Chu Yi. Help you? Are you in any trouble? Chu Yi frowned slightly. This man was a little confused and he was a little confused. Li Shuier continued. Mr. Chu Yi, please allow me to introduce myself. I am a member of the Nanchang Superpowers Association, and my name is Li Shuier. Chu Yi's brows furrowed even deeper, and he asked curiously, it turned out to be someone from the Superpower Association, and then what? Li Shuier said firmly, they sent me to assassinate you, Mr. Chu Yi. I know that I am not your opponent. I also know that they just want me to die. And I think that a good man like Mr. Chu Yi should not being treated like this. So, Chu Yi knew clearly in his heart that the people from the Superpower Association hadn't given up on hunting him yet. You just told me your purpose, aren't you afraid that I will kill you? Li Shuier replied firmly. Mr. Chu Yi, you are a kind person, and I came here because of no choice. I believe you will not kill me. Chu Yi nodded and said affirmatively. You are right, I will not kill you. Now, you can tell me the full plan of the Superpower Association. Li Shuier suddenly became serious when she heard this. After telling Chu Yi the plan of the Superpower Association, a trace of sincerity shone in her eyes. It turns out that the Superpower Association had long sent Li Shui'er to assassinate Chu Yi, but it had been unable to track his whereabouts. However, now that Chu Yi has founded Spark City, the prestige of the Superpowers Association seems to have been greatly affected. A firm determination arose in Chu Yi's heart. He decided to find an opportunity and never let the Association of Superpowers become a potential threat to Spark City. Then, Chu Yi looked at Li Shui'er and asked, "How do you want me to help you?" Li Shui'er took a deep breath and replied firmly, "I hope you can protect my safety." Chu Yi smiled and said, "You can stay in Spark City from now on. As long as you are in the city, no one will dare to hurt you." Li Shui'er nodded, "This is the best. Because Spark City is only for civilians, those with special abilities must apply if they want to join." Her eyes shone with gratitude, because she knew that with the protection of Spark City, she could finally stay away from the dark place of the Superpowers Association. After a long time, Chu Yi returned to his unique office, which was specially built for him by Labist. The office is full of futuristic technology, and the complete equipment reveals the mystery of the future. And that desk is even more shocking. It is made of liquid metal and can freely change into any shape. It is simply incredible. Chu Yi looked at Labas and smiled happily. "I didn't expect such treatment. This liquid metal is so wonderful." However, Labas ignored his smile and said directly, "I plan to return to Ram Star. I hope you can go with me." Chu Yi shook his head and said with a serious expression, "At present, I can't go to Ram Star with you. There are too many things on Blue Star that I need to deal with. However, when the time is right, I will drive it myself." Starship goes. "I hope Master Chu Yi can leave as soon as possible. We don't have much time left on Ram Star. I'm afraid the interstellar war will break out in less than 2 years." Labas frowned, with a trace of anxiety and uneasiness in his tone. Chu Yi smiled slightly and wrote lightly, "Don't worry, I will never break my promise to you. In addition, you can contact us at any time on the starship, so there is no need to be so pessimistic." Labas was relieved a lot after hearing this, and said, "I will introduce you to our war officer from Ram Star later." After hearing these words, Chu Yi was filled with curiosity. The position of war officer sounds like it should be the person in charge of war. However, Chu Yi hates war, but he really wants to meet this person. After a while, outside of Starfire City, Chu Yi looked up at the sky of Starfire City and saw a huge interstellar battleship docked in the sky. The scale of this battleship is far greater than Labas's starship. This starship has a sharp appearance, as sharp as a blade, so handsome. So handsome. I saw a woman wearing a white mecha coming out of the battleship. She stared at Chu Yi, then looked at Labas, and asked, "Technology Officer Labas, who is this?" "Limernia, this is Chu Yi, a very powerful superpower. He is now our ally." Labas introduced quickly, and then Labas introduced Chu Yi again. She is one of the war officers of our Ram Star War Department, Limernia." The corners of Limernia's mouth raised slightly, and a bright smile appeared in her eyes. "Hello Chu Yi, happy cooperation." "Hello Limernia, I hope the war will end soon." Chu Yi also smiled, with a hint of sincerity in his eyes. The two looked at each other silently, and their understanding of each other increased a lot. However, no one can guess the true thoughts of the two people. After a while, Limernia took Labas aboard the starship. As soon as the starship started, it was like a bolt of lightning streaking across the sky, and they disappeared instantly, as if they had merged into the endless vastness of the interstellar universe. Chu Yi watched the starship leave, his heart filled with emotion. He never thought he would see aliens one day. Chu Yi shook his head gently, adjusted his thoughts, and walked back to the meeting hall resolutely. He summoned all the members of the Kunpeng group, Fatty, Nangong Shirong and Anna. He looked at everyone firmly and said, "How are things in Spark City handled? Now we will go to the Kunlun Mountain headquarters to practice, because our strength is far from strong enough." After hearing this, Nangong Shirong said calmly, "The arrangements for Spark City have been properly completed. Half of the superpowers in our Nangong family have joined Spark City. It is expected that within 3 years, the prosperity of Spark City will surpass that of the capital Yanjing City." Anna couldn't help but ask at this moment, "Chu Yi, can we let the civilians of the Bear Country also settle in Spark City?" She had a thought in her heart, hoping to provide an equally safe shelter for the civilians of the Bear Country. Chu Yi nodded and replied affirmatively, "Of course. We want more people to benefit from Spark City, except for certain countries. Now that the development of Spark City has stabilized, we must set off to Kunlun Mountain to practice. This time, everyone must reach rank 9 to exit the level." Everyone nodded, indicating that they understood Chu Yi's request. They are indeed a little weak now. Although both Chu Yi and Fatty have strong combat power, especially Chu Yi, he can easily kill rank 9 superpowers. An hour later, Chu Yi had already led the three of them to the 5th underground floor of the Kunlun Mountain headquarters. The fat man's eyes widened and he exclaimed in disbelief, "Oh my god! There is such a spectacular scene under the Kunlun Mountains. It's like an underground city." Chu Yi explained patiently, "This is the headquarters of our special force of superpowers. Usually very few members come here. Everyone has an identity card and an independent yard. Moreover, the energy here is abundant and very suitable for practice. But more importantly, there is a spiritual spring here. I will take you there later, and you must practice well. Maybe in less than a month, you can break through to rank 9. When Fatty heard this, he was so excited that a bright smile appeared on his face, and he shouted excitedly, "That's great, Brother Chu. I can feel that as long as I break through rank 9, I can awaken extraordinary abilities." Anna and Nangong Shirong were also very excited. This was simply an opportunity for them. Rank 9 is a height that most superpowers cannot reach in their lifetime. At this moment, in the spiritual spring of Kunlun Mountain, Chu Yi was sitting cross-legged, fully engaged in cultivation. He took a deep breath and felt that the terrifying spiritual energy in the spiritual spring was stronger than before. Maybe it was just his illusion, but his intuition told him that this training would be different. Chu Yi's primordial origin Wujikang was operating rapidly. As time passed, a terrifying spiritual energy poured into his body continuously, like a raging torrent, sweeping through his entire body. There was a faint evil aura surrounding it, like black smoke spreading out, and 9 primordial origin abilities surrounded it, forming a dense realm. At this moment, Anna was sitting cross-legged in the spiritual spring, with a solemn face absorbing the core of black light, which was the evil power of the devil. The terrifying aura and black light core blended with each other and poured endlessly into Anna's body. Black light flashed around her body, exuding a strange and frightening aura. As for Nangong Shirong, lightning shines here, and she has a thunder attribute. The aura of the spiritual spring was constantly baptizing her, and her thunder attribute seemed to be evolving. There was an extremely strange atmosphere surrounding the fat man. He sat cross-legged in the spiritual spring, surrounded by a golden light. Time keeps passing like this, like the fine sand in an hourglass sliding through your fingertips. Chu Yi sat cross-legged in the center of the spiritual spring, with the primordial origin Wujikang Fu running in his body. There was a faint evil aura around him, as if invisible power was brewing. The next day, Chu Yi broke through to the middle of rank 7, and his physical strength reached a new height. On the third day, he entered the rank 7 late stage and became even more powerful. On the fourth day, the terrifying spiritual power in the spiritual spring was continuously poured into Chu Yi's body, and he felt unprecedented power. On the fifth day, Chu Yi broke through to rank 8, and a terrifying evil spirit burst out instantly. The evil spirit seemed to be more intense than before. The sixth day. The seventh day. The eighth day. Time passed like this day by day, and Chu Yi still stayed at the peak of rank 8, unable to break through. "Give me a breakthrough." Chu Yi was unwilling to accept it. He was obviously blessed by such a massive amount of spiritual energy, why couldn't he break through? But he still decided to continue practicing. He did not believe that he could not break through to rank 9. But at this moment, a strange thing happened. A black lotus seed suddenly slowly grew out of Chu Yi's body. It was tiny and mysterious, but exuded a creepy aura of world destruction. Is this the legendary world-destroying Black Lotus? Chu Yi was extremely shocked. He did not hesitate and continued to absorb the spiritual energy in the spiritual spring crazily. He saw that due to the terrifying spiritual energy pouring in, the Black Lotus seeds have begun to sprout slowly. In this way, until the 30th day, at the moment when the lotus seeds sprouted completely, Chu Yi instantly broke through to the realm of rank 9 superpowers and an unprecedented power surged throughout his body. "That's great. It only took a month to break through to rank 9. Chu-yi shouted excitedly. He felt infinite power surging in his body, as if he could tear apart all the bonds. He finally entered the realm of rank 9. The power of the evil spirit has undergone a qualitative transformation, and more importantly, the world-destroying Black Lotus seeds. Although it is still in its infancy, Chu-yi firmly believes that in the near future, it will definitely become the real world-destroying Black Lotus. The United States Federation, and the Eagle Federation, it's time to deal with you. Chu-yi's heart ignited a raging flame. There is also the Association of Superpowers. But at this moment, a sudden change occurred. The entire Kunlun Mountains suddenly erupted with raging spiritual energy, sweeping over like a violent storm and spreading towards the entire blue star. At the moment when the spiritual energy exploded, a gray stream of light came from the depths of Kunlun Mountain, like a bolt of lightning across the sky, instantly penetrated Chu-yi's skin and entered his body. The speed was so fast that he could only watch as the gray light flashed away. Chu-yi had no time to react, but he quickly checked his physical condition and found that there was no change. He felt a little confused, not knowing what this gray stream of light was and why it chose to enter his body. No matter, this Kunlun Mountain is too mysterious, let's go find Fatty first. Chu-yi shook his head and walked out of Lingquan. He was stunned by the scene in front of him. Fatty and Nangong Shirong were discussing eagerly, while Anna looked sadly aside. But now each of them has become a rank 9 superpower, which makes Chu-yi very happy. When Fatty saw Chu-yi, he immediately shouted anxiously, "Brother Chu! You're finally out, it's not good, something is wrong." His voice was full of tension and anxiety. Chu-yi was confused and asked puzzledly, "What happened?" He knew nothing about the situation in front of him. Nangong Shirong said quietly, "Anna seems to have awakened the power of the devil and turned into a devil. But fortunately, she can change back to her normal form at any time." There was a hint of worry and relief in her voice. Anna turned into a demon. Could it be that she has completely absorbed the power of the demon? Chu-yi was shocked when he heard the news. He stared at Anna, who had become a demon, his eyes full of doubts and concerns. Anna was in tears at this moment, so sad that she couldn't control herself. She said with a trembling voice, "Chu-yi, I am no longer an ordinary human being." Her voice was filled with endless despair and sadness. Chu-yi walked over and tried to comfort Anna's injured heart with warm words, "You are still a human being, don't be sad anymore." His voice was gentle, trying to give Anna some comfort. However, Anna's sadness became more and more profound, shrouding her soul like a dark cloud in the sky. She aroused the demonic power deep in her heart. A pair of demonic horns sprouted from her head, and her whole body shone with black iron-like armor, transforming into a pure demon. She held a lightsaber shining with green light in her hand, full of domineering power. Anna demon form. This scene made Chu-yi feel shocked and surprised. Anna gritted her teeth and said, "Chu-yi, can I still be considered a human being now?" Chu-yi stared at Anna intently. He was amazed by her demonic appearance, and his eyes widened. "So handsome. Just so handsome," he praised excitedly, with excitement in his voice. When Anna heard Chu-yi's praise, she became even more depressed, feeling helpless as if she had lost her soul. When Chu-yi saw this, he felt helpless. He didn't understand why Anna was so disappointed with his transformation. This was obviously a good thing. He approached Anna lightly, held her gently in his arms, and then whispered a few words in her ear. His voice was gentle and low, full of soothing meaning. Anna's cheeks were slightly red, and her mood gradually calmed down. But she was excited about what Chu-yi said and asked in disbelief, "Really?" "Of course, Chu-yi, will do what I say and will never break my promise." Chu-yi smiled and nodded, his eyes full of determination. Chu-yi and the others left Kunlun Mountain and returned to Spark City again. With his breakthrough to rank 9 this time, the strength of his supernatural powers increased more than 1,000 times, and his physical body became incredibly powerful. It can be said that his strength has skyrocketed. And there are Fatty, Nangong Shirong and Anna, they have also broken through rank 9. The current Kunpang group can be said to be invincible on Blue Star. The most important thing is that Chu-yi also has a powerful weapon like an interstellar battleship. Moreover, Labas taught Chu-yi starship control skills before leaving. In Chu-yi's opinion, this interstellar battleship is a perfect divine weapon for destroying a country. Immediately afterwards, Spark City immediately issued a global notification. First, Ukraine and the countries of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization should immediately stop the war of aggression against the Bear Country. Otherwise, destroy. Second, the United States Federation, as the main driving force of the war, disrupts world security. Pay a fine of 1 trillion yuan in 1 day. If not executed, destroyed. Third, the Eagle Federation disrupts world security and promotes war behind the scenes. Pay a fine of 1 trillion Eagle dollars within 1 day. If not executed, destroyed. Chu Yi narrowed his eyes and murmured to himself, "It's so wonderful. Is this what it feels like to be powerful? Why don't you countries just let me control you? If you don't accept it, you will be destroyed." At this moment, the atmosphere in the International Conference Hall was tense and solemn. The President of the United States, who was jokingly called a demented old man, had gray hair and expressed his views clearly: "We must not agree to Spark City's request." A newly established small town actually dared to ask us to hand over the request. He finds us and dares to convict us. He simply doesn't take our countries seriously. This is obviously a declaration of war on us. Since Spark City wants a war, then we will fight until Spark City is convinced. The members of the Alliance of Nations nodded in support. Yes, there must be no compromise. If you want to fight, then fight. Have there been fewer wars in all these years? We agree to war. 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 At this moment, in the office of the City Lord of Spark City, Chu Yi stared at Anna and asked calmly and unusually, "What is their reaction to the country headed by the United States?" Anna pondered for a moment and said helplessly, "Oh, Chu Yi, do you know? These countries are going to launch a war again. And they are launching a war against our Spark City." Chu Yi couldn't help laughing heartily, with a hint of excitement in his smile, and said, "Great. This is exactly what I expected. Get ready, we will destroy these countries tomorrow. I don't have time to waste on those insignificant countries." However, the populations of these countries are simply unbelievable. Even if we kill them one by one, it will take a long time. Anna raised her head with doubts on her face, her brows frowning slightly. Chu Yi showed a proud smile, pointed at the interstellar battleship in the sky, and said, "We are going to use this to destroy them. We only need one button, ha ha ha." Anna suddenly realized it and said in surprise, "That's it, why didn't I think of it?" 1 day passed quickly, and countries around the world began military preparations to launch an attack on Spark City. Chu Yi was in the control room of the interstellar battleship, and the virtual screen in front of him displayed various deadly weapons: ordinary nuclear bombs, super-large nuclear bombs, antimatter-level missiles, genetic-level missiles, ultrasonic hydrogen bombs, etc. He stared at the screen intently, his eyes flashing with excitement, and he was extremely excited. He said to himself, "Very good, I'll use you, ultrasonic hydrogen bomb." Ultrasonic hydrogen bomb. The ultrasonic waves generated by the explosion will cause fatal damage to people, but it will cause minimal damage to buildings. It can destroy the country without any harm. Divine weapon. Chu Yi instantly touched the virtual screen and launched an ultrasonic hydrogen bomb. The cold mechanical sound of the system came to my ears. Ultrasonic hydrogen bomb, saturation strike. Target locked. Blue Star American Federation, Eagle Federation, and all countries of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. In an instant, countless gun muzzles appeared around the star battleship, like endless black holes, launching into thousands of ultrasonic hydrogen bombs. These ultrasonic hydrogen bombs are so fast that in less than a second, they have already shot towards the designated country like arrows. At this moment, in the skies above the United States Federation, the Eagle Federation, and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization countries, ultrasonic hydrogen bombs were flooding the sky. People in these countries were killed instantly before they even had time to react. This scene is simply horrifying. The world was immersed in endless shock. The news spread quickly across the globe like an electric current. People could not believe it and could not accept it. The United States Federation, the Eagle Federation, and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization countries, these once extremely powerful countries, were completely destroyed in an instant, and they were destroyed by Spark City. Such destructive power is simply beyond imagination. Of course it was Chu Yi who released this news. He was trying to scare the monkeys and scare the chickens. Done, let's call it a day. Chu Yi smiled very happily. For him, the world finally fell into silence. The Japanese country, the United States, the Eagle Federation and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization countries have all been destroyed. Now he only needs to develop Spark City properly to realize his wish. However, for Chu Yi, there is another thing that worries him, and that is the existence of the Superpower Association. When Chu Yi returned to Spark City, he unexpectedly met several acquaintances, 5 of his students at Yanjing College, and Qinliu, Chen Chenghao, Ruiyu, Sun Dao and Yuding. They stood in front of Chu Yi with firm eyes. Chu Yi asked in confusion, "Why did you come to Spark City?" Ruiyu looked calm and replied, "Teacher Chu, we are here to join your Spark City." Chu Yi said with a little helplessness, "I have left Yanjing College and am no longer your mentor." However, and Qinliu said firmly, "Teacher Chu, whether you are still at Yanjing College or not, we regard you as our mentor." Several others also nodded in agreement. Faced with such persistence, Chu Yi sighed helplessly and said, "Well, since you are determined to join, then join." In the end, Chu Yi asked them to find Anna to handle these matters. He doesn't want to interfere too much, and he doesn't have the energy to worry. As long as peace can be achieved, he would rather ignore anything, although wars have continued since ancient times. Alas, why are you so anxious? What makes Chu Yi feel sad is that even the Association of Superpowers, an organization that is supposed to have the same enemy, actually wants to kill him, and his compatriots are killing each other, which makes him feel endless of grief. A long time later, in Yanjing City, in a luxurious office at the headquarters of the Association of Superpowers. Chu Yi's eyes were fixed on a handsome man. He was Jin Qinwen, the president of the Superpower Association. Behind Jin Qinwen were several women who were wearing scantily clad clothes. They were as extravagant as they wanted. Chu Yi stared at Jin Qinwen closely and said sarcastically, "Are you the president of the Superpower Association? You look quite weak." He dismissed Jin Qinwen's strength. Jin Qinwen was indifferent. He was surprised by Chu Yi's courage, and then said, "You are Chu Yi. You dare to come to the headquarters of our Association of Superpowers alone. You are really ignorant." "Ignorance, haha, you are the ones who are ignorant." Chu Yi raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth and said with disdain, "Actually, I don't want to destroy your Superpower Association, but if you insist on being my enemy, then don't blame me for being so merciless." Jin Qinwen also laughed. Strong metallic power surged in his body, and he said arrogantly, "Chu Yi, you are a little orphan. You actually made false threats in front of me. Since you have thrown yourself into a trap, then prepare to die. By the way, I will also take over your Spark City. And the little beauties around you will also belong to me. Ha ha ha." Chu Yi's eyes narrowed slightly, and there was a hint of coldness in his eyes. At this moment, he discovered that Jin Qinwen actually had metallic powers. "I didn't expect this guy to have metallic powers, just for me to devour. In this way, the 5 elements will be complete." Chu Yi thought excitedly in his heart, and saw that his body was instantly filled with thick evil aura, and his breath was changing instantly. It has skyrocketed to its limit. Jin Qinwen was shocked. He couldn't believe what he saw in front of him and said angrily, "You, Chu Yi, you are actually a rank 9 superpower. Aren't you a rank 7? You actually broke through to rank in such a short time." 9. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. Chu Yi responded coldly, "Haha. You don't need to know that this child's play is over, just die." As soon as the words fell, the evil spirit exuded by Chu Yi condensed into substance, and Jin Qian is completely surrounded by it. Jin Qinwen didn't even have time to react before she was gradually swallowed up. The metallic ability quickly integrated into Chu Yi's body. This time, it did not form an energy core, but directly gave him metallic abilities. Primordial Origins abilities have been strengthened again, and metallic abilities have been added to increase their power to a new level. How do you want to die?" Chu Yi glanced at the women. His eyes were cold, and there was a trace of ridicule in his tone. One of the women begged for mercy in a trembling voice, "Master Chu Yi, please understand that we are not members of the Superpower Association. We were just coerced by Jin Qinwen and used as entertainment toys by him. We were just..." The woman's voice changed. She became weak and swallowed the unspeakable truth. When Chu Yi heard this, his eyes were calm and he responded calmly, "You can just take care of yourself. After saying that, Chu Yi turned around and prepared to leave. However, the woman suddenly stopped Chu Yi and said in a trembling voice, "Master Chu Yi, can women like us settle in Spark City?" Chu Yi stopped, looked at her, and said slowly, "Of course, as long as they are civilians of the Dragon Kingdom, they will be accepted." As soon as Chu Yi finished solving the matter at hand, he suddenly received a notice from Xiao Tianju, "Emergency meeting, come to the Kunlun Mountain headquarters quickly." Chu Yi frowned and had a bad feeling. He didn't expect Xiao Tianju to contact him. It seemed like something big had happened. An hour later, 5 people gathered together in the conference hall of the Kunlun Mountain headquarters, and the atmosphere was solemn and tense. Xiao Tianju, Feng Qingyan, Xuanyuan Yi, Lin Xiaoqi and Chu Yi. Their breaths were intertwined, and an atmosphere full of power and wisdom permeated the entire conference hall. "You all feel it, right?" Xiao Tianju spoke slowly, his voice low and heavy. Feng Qingyan frowned tightly and replied, "Yes, the spiritual energy has revived for the second time." Xuanyuan Yi's eyes flashed with a hint of uneasiness, and he added, "Since yesterday, the concentration of spiritual energy in the air has gradually increased. Isn't this better? We can practice faster and become stronger." Lin Xiaoqi was excited and eager to give it a try. Chu Yi remained silent, but Xiao Tianju turned to him and asked expectantly, "Chu Yi, what do you think of this matter?" Chu Yi pondered for a moment, with a thoughtful look in his eyes, and then slowly said, "The second revival of spiritual energy means that the spiritual energy will be more intense, and the alien beasts will undoubtedly become more powerful. But most of us humans are unable to awaken supernatural powers. This is not a good thing." "Yes, Chu Yi is right." Hearing Chu Yi's words, Xiao Tianju nodded, with a hint of worry in his voice, and said seriously, "But there is another important issue, the power of society. The weak gap will become more obvious, and the superpowers will become stronger, while ordinary people will remain the same." This question made everyone silent, thinking about the problems they were about to face. Feng Qingyan looked at Chu Yi, winked at him, and then spoke passionately, "I think Chu Yi's Spark City is an excellent solution. The future of the Dragon Kingdom should be led by Spark City, because Spark City this is a city where everyone is equal, even those with special abilities." Chu Yi immediately heard Feng Qingyan's intention. She was speaking for him, so he said solemnly, "Yes, in Spark City, everyone has equal rights, including people with superpowers. I am willing to use my life to enforce this." Xuanyuan Yi said to Chu Yi, "Brother Chu, I didn't expect you to be so farsighted. You are really amazing. I really admire you now." Lin Xiaoqi also praised, "Brother Chu, you are so amazing. No one has been able to do this for hundreds of years, but you did it." Xiao Tianju nodded and said, "This is an excellent solution. Let's decide now. Use Spark City as our plan to deal with the second resurgence of spiritual energy." Xiao Tianju said excitedly again, "At the beginning, when the spiritual energy revived, the Dragon Kingdom fell into chaos, and the Dragon Kingdom government collapsed. Then, the Spark Project was officially launched. Now, it is time for us to rise." Xiao Tianju's eyes became deep as he recalled it at this moment, as if he had returned to the tragic years in the early days of spiritual energy recovery, and told everyone about the tragedy. At that time, in order to protect civilians, the Dragon Kingdom government assembled a powerful army and launched a bloody decisive battle with the ferocious beasts. However, the power of the alien beasts is far beyond imagination, and ordinary soldiers are no match for them. Even though some of the first awakened people participated in the battle, almost all of them died in the wasteland in order to protect the lives of civilians. Chu Yi felt a chill in his heart. He didn't dare to imagine the cruel scene at that time. It was a wild dance of blood and death. Countless brave warriors fell in the brutal battle. Their lives were like candles in the wind, short and without leaving any trace. However, this time, Chu Yi would never allow such a thing to happen again. "No, I will never let this happen." He clenched his fists, with a firm light shining in his eyes. With respect for the fallen warriors and love for his homeland, he vowed to fight for himself. The country has protected the common people from all disasters. Deep in his heart, an extremely powerful force surged. He believes that with his current strength, he has the ability to protect the peace and tranquility of the Dragon Kingdom. Soon after, several people arrived at Spark City. Xiao Tianju stared at the prosperous city in front of him, filled with emotion, and said with emotion, Great, if this development continues, Spark City will definitely surpass Yanjing City within a year. Hehe, of course, Spark City is my hard work. Chu Yi said with a smile. Xiao Tianju said approvingly. Chu Yi, you did a good job and did not waste my spiritual seed in vain. Should we try to win the support of some families first? Xuanyuan Yi's voice sounded, and there was a trace of thought and deep thought in his eyes. Chu Yi shrugged his shoulders and said softly, the Nangong family has settled in Spark City. Xuanyuan Yi frowned slightly and said in a calm tone, the most powerful families in the Dragon Kingdom today are none other than the Shengguan family, the Nangong family, the Dongfang family, the Yuyang family, etc. Chu Yi narrowed his eyes, thought for a moment and said, Shengguan Lingwei has been here before, but I rejected her at that time. As for the other families you mentioned, I haven't heard of them yet. Time passed quickly like running water. 10 days passed. Chu Yi sat cross-legged in his room and entered a state of cultivation. At the same time, all affairs in Spark City were left to Anna to handle. During the practice, Chu Yi could feel that the energy in the air was richer than before. This was the result of the second resurgence of spiritual energy, and this energy was still growing. I didn't expect that the spiritual energy would revive again, and I didn't know when it would stop. Chu Yi couldn't help but have doubts in his heart, and then he shook his head and whispered to himself, forget it, the most important thing is to concentrate on practicing first. Quote, Chu Yi has reached the realm of rank 9 superpower. He once asked Xiao Tianju what the realm above rank 9 was, but even Xiao Tianju himself didn't know. This made Chu Yi begin to suspect that maybe there was no realm above rank 9 in this world. However, at this moment, Chu Yi was shrouded in a mysterious gray aura, like a fog. Suddenly, he was pulled into a vast and boundless world, surrounded by a scene of nothingness. Chu Yi felt as if he was floating in this void world, and there was an inexplicable uneasiness in his heart. Chu Yi, you are finally here. Suddenly, a disembodied voice came into Chu Yi's ears. Chu Yi's heart trembled, but there was no sign of anyone around, only the mysterious voice echoed in the void. He looked around alertly, scanning every corner with sharp eyes. Who are you? Chu Yi swallowed and couldn't help asking, with a hint of caution in his voice. As soon as Chu Yi finished speaking, an illusory figure suddenly appeared in front of him. The man was dressed in a snow-white Taoist robe, had an immortal air, and was handsome with a hint of mature charm, like a real immortal. I am Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable. Chu Yi couldn't help but feel shocked when he heard these words, but he couldn't completely believe it. Are you really the legendary Heavenly Venerable? Saint, this is a legendary figure in the legend. Chu Yi said hesitantly in disbelief. Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable smiled broadly and said softly, to be precise, I am not the original deity, not even a clone. I am just a thought of the original deity. I call myself Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable, isn't that too much? After hearing this, Chu Yi half believed it. You must know that this is the Heavenly Venerable in the mythical. He asked curiously, Senior Yuanshi, does the legendary prehistoric era really exist? Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable said with emotion, Old wilderness, of course it once existed. Chu Yi keenly felt the subtle meaning in Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable's words, it once existed, which means it may no longer exist now. But he did not dwell on this issue anymore, but continued to ask, Senior Yuanshi, what is the purpose of finding me? I am just a small person. Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable smiled and said, You are not a little person. If you want to know my purpose, you must understand some things first. After saying that, Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable waved his hand gently, Chu Yi's eyes flashed, and he immediately came to another pictures of the world appeared before his eyes. The picture shows Pengu's opening heaven opening up the earth, fixing the earth, water, fire and wind, and the prehistoric era was born. The scene changes and depicts the first calamity of heaven and earth, the calamity of dragons and phoenixes. The dragon race, the phoenix clan and the Qilin clan competed for hegemony in the prehistoric world, causing the vitality of heaven and earth to be damaged, and the aura of calamity permeating the entire prehistoric world. In the end, all three tribes paid a huge price for this battle, and the dragon race, phoenix tribe, and Qilin tribe all declined. With the decline of the three clans, the luck of the prehistoric world also dropped sharply, and the concentration of spiritual energy decreased sharply. The screen changed again, showing the second calamity, the Lich calamity. The Wu clan claims to be the orthodox descendants of the great god Pengu and is led by the 12 ancestral witches. The god of fire Zhu Rong and the god of water fought hard, and Bujoshan was knocked down. Buzhou Mountain collapsed, and Saint Nua came to repair the sky. The ancestral witch Haodu transformed into reincarnation and controlled the 6 paths of reincarnation. As a result, the witch clan lost an ancestral witch and its strength was greatly reduced. The monster race is led by Dongwang Tai Indigen, with the help of 10 great monster saints, and there are many monster races. The 2 tribes of lich and demons destroyed the world in this battle, and the battle was extremely cruel. A great war broke out that destroyed the world and was the most powerful calamity in the history. The ancestral witches formed the 12 heavenly gods formation, transformed into the incomplete Pengu true body, and launched an earth-shaking fierce battle with the monster race Zhaodian star formation. After the battle, the ancient world was shattered into pieces. The once glorious ancient world was now split into 4 continents, and the aura was no longer as strong as it once was. The screen changed again. The scale of the Fengshan measuring tribulation was obviously smaller this time. Compared with the lich measuring calamity, it is like an ant comparing to an elephant. After the Zhou dynasty destroyed the Shang dynasty, in this prehistoric world, spiritual energy had already become 1/1000th of what it was in the early prehistoric days. The road to immortality has become extremely difficult. At this time, celestial immortal is already the highest level, and golden immortal is an unattainable realm. You must know that in the early days of the prehistoric era, golden immortal existed everywhere and could be seen everywhere. The screen switches again. In the Warring States period, the Qin state unified the world, and the prehistoric times no longer existed. There is only a blue planet in front of you. This turned out to be the Earth from Chuyi's previous life. From then on, the spiritual energy almost completely disappeared, and the road to immortality was completely closed. The screen disappears. Chuyi was half asleep and half awake. You saw all this, what do you think? However, Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable's voice pulled him back to reality. Chuyi was so shocked that he was stunned for a moment and asked in disbelief, what is going on all this? What happened from the Zhou dynasty to the Warring States period? Primordial origin Heavenly Venerable said with some helplessness, we have experienced primordial origin immeasurable tribulations. Chuyi was confused and asked, primordial origin immeasurable tribulation. What is that? Heavenly Venerable explained patiently, the primordial origin immeasurable calamity is more terrifying than the chaos immeasurable calamity. If it is the chaos immeasurable calamity, we saints and teacher Hongjun should be able to deal with it. Heavenly Venerable paused and continued to explain. Primordial origin immeasurable kalpas are equivalent to the mana of 30,000 chaos immeasurable kalpas. Saint can also be destroyed. Learned from Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable. A primordial origin of immeasurable calamity is so terrifying. 30,000 chaotic infinite tribulations of mana. From the mouth of Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable, Chuyi learned about the ancient concept of time. Year equals December. 1 life equals 30 years. 1 luck equals 12 lives, 360 years. 1 meeting equals 30 luck, 10,800 years. Yi Yuanwei equals 12 fortunes, 129,600 years. 1 primordial origin calamity equals 50,000 yuan, 6.48 billion years. 1 primordial origin equals 20,000 primordial origin calamities, 1,290,600 billion years. 1 epic equals about 46 chaotic epics, 6 quadrillion years. 1 cycle of epics equals about 30 epics, 1.8 billion years. 1 chaotic calamity equals approximately 17.28 reincarnations, 31.104 trillion years. 1 primordial origin immeasurable kalpa equals 30,000 chaotic immeasurable kalpas, 933.12 trillion years. Chuyi's face turned pale with shock, and his eyes were full of horror. He really couldn't imagine that Saint could be destroyed. What a terrifying concept this was. Chuyi had just experienced the vastness of the prehistoric world. In the Zhaodian star formation, there are a total of 365 main stars and 14,800 secondary stars. Each secondary star is wider than the universe, and the main star spreads to the infinite edge. And how big is the universe now? Only 93 billion light years. And this is just a formation in a prehistoric world. And Saint, that is an existence that is countless times more powerful than the Zodian star formation. Saint myriad tribulations are immortal, and all those under the saint are ants. This statement is by no means a lie. Chu Yi simply couldn't imagine what kind of power could kill Saint. This is all too scary. Yuan Shi Heavenly Venerable looked at Chu Yi with a smile and said, Chu Yi, don't be too surprised. When you become truly powerful, these things will no longer surprise you. Chu Yi nodded, trying to calm down his emotions, and then asked, Senior Yuanshi, what exactly do you want me to do? At this moment, Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable's expression became extremely serious and said, Chu Yi, you will inherit the legacy of the ancient times. When Chu Yi heard this, he was shocked again, the legacy of the ancient times. That's something from ancient times. He swallowed and said in disbelief, Senior Yuanshi, why did you choose me? I'm just a nobody. A calm smile appeared on Heavenly Venerable's face, and he said, because you are the one chosen by the teacher. Your God-killing spear, the powers you awakened in this world, and your primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu are all Hongjun teacher's arrangement. When Chu Yi heard this, a drop of cold sweat fell from his forehead. It turned out that everything was arranged. His transmigrate rebirth and awakening abilities were all arranged in advance. All this made Chu Yi's hair stand on end and made him feel extremely frightened. Primordial Origin Heavenly Venerable saw Chu Yi's thoughts and said in a gentle tone, Chu Yi, you don't have to be afraid, we won't hurt you. The Primordial Origin Wuji Gong you practice is the hard work of teacher Hongjun, but your current I'm not mature enough in cultivation. Chu Yi asked doubtfully, Senior Yuanshi, my Primordial Origin Wuji Kung Fu has reached the 9th level. Heavenly Venerable smiled and pointed. Actually, the strongest point of Primordial Origin Wuji Kung Fu is the fusion and devouring, the fusion of all methods. And it is not easy for you to practice to this level in this small universe. Moreover, this is also an important reason why I choose to stand in front of you. Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable waved his hand, and countless law treasures, divine ability, and techniques appeared around him. This is the legacy of the prehistoric times, the 9 transformations mysterious technique, the 8-9 transformations mysterious technique, the 3 purities mysterious technique, the innate 5 elements escape technique, the 1 chi transforms into 3 purities, etc. Innate treasures. Pengu Banner, Chaos Bell. Innate Spirit Treasure. 12th Grade Good Fortune Azure Lotus, 12th Grade Karma Fire Red Lotus, 12th Grade Merit Golden Lotus, Hichu Luashu. Innate Merit Spirit Treasure. Hongmong Heavenly Ruler. The Rare Treasure of Heaven. The heavens celebrate the clouds. It's wonderful. With these law treasures, I won't crush the whole universe after I go out. Chu Yi's heart was boiling at the moment, full of excitement and fantasy, imagining excitedly. Each of these law treasures has restrictions, and the innate treasure has 49 restrictions. However, Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable's words severely broke Chu Yi's beautiful fantasy. You can't control them now, only when you reach the realm of Great Principle Golden Immortal can you begin to refine these restrictions. And the refining of each restriction takes a long time. Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable's words ruthlessly reminded Chu Yi, what you are practicing now is the body refining system of this small universe. When you practice the prehistoric era in the future, when you are in the realm, never use it in the outside world. Why can't we show the power of the prehistoric world to the outside world? Chu Yi was confused. The prehistoric realm is known as the most powerful realm in the myriad worlds. He didn't understand why he couldn't show the power of the prehistoric world to the outside world, and then continued to ask, my cultivation in the outside world has reached rank 9. But I have never been able to find a way to break through to the next level, and I feel clueless. Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable explained patiently, if you use the ancient magic power in the outside world, you will be immediately obliterated by the will of the world, because your strength is too weak. The reason why the God-killing spear and the world-destroying Black Lotus are both based on supernatural powers, the form of energy appears just to protect you. If you want to release the ancient magic power in the outside world, there are 2 ways. The first way is that your superpower level has reached a level where even the will of the world cannot destroy you. The second way is to reach the Golden Immortal Realm. As long as you reach the Golden Immortal Realm, this insignificant law of the universe will not be able to do anything to you. Chu Yi nodded, suddenly realized, and said, Senior Yuanshi, I see, I understand. So, can you give me some advice about my superpower realm? Chu Yi asked respectfully. Yuan Shi Heavenly Venerable smiled and said, this blue star has been sealed by me, making it impossible for you to come into contact with the energy of this universe. What you practice is only the weak spiritual energy released by me, and its similarity to the cosmic spiritual energy of this world is limited. Breaking through rank 9 requires the cosmic energy of this world. Chu Yi couldn't help but be stunned. He couldn't imagine the power of Yuan Shi Heavenly Venerable. With just one thought, he can seal the entire blue star. This power is shocking. Yuan Shi Heavenly Venerable said with an extremely solemn expression, there is another law treasure, and it is also the most important law treasure. It is the world we are in now. Chu Yi blinked and asked doubtfully, the world we are in now? Is this world law treasure? Yuan Shi Heavenly Venerable said solemnly, of course, this is the world inside the chaos bead, you can practice here. Chaos beads. Chu Yi was shocked again, saving the best for last. You must know that the chaos bead is the real chaos treasure, this is the real king bomb. Yuan Shi Heavenly Venerable continued to explain. Now that the chaos bead has been integrated into your body by me, you cannot absorb the chaos chi now. You must reach the golden immortal realm before you can absorb the chaos chi. When Chu Yi heard this, he couldn't help but sigh, feeling a little regretful in his heart. Although he was in it, he couldn't personally feel the power of chaos. He could only watch helplessly, but couldn't absorb it himself. Yuan Shi Heavenly Venerable smiled and continued. Okay, everything that needs to be explained has been explained. Now you can start to integrate the techniques. Let's start with the 8-9 mysterious techniques. Chu Yi didn't understand. This fusion technique was quite profound. He asked doubtfully, Senior Yuan Shi, what should I do? Yuan Shi Heavenly Venerable began to teach Chu Yi step by step. He sat down cross-legged. Yuan Shi Heavenly Venerable waved one hand, and a huge golden light continued to pour into Chu Yi's eyebrows. Chu Yi could feel that this was the secret method of practicing the 8-9 mysterious gong, and it was constantly being displayed in his mind. Start operating primordial origin Wujikong now. Yuan Shi Heavenly Venerable's ethereal voice echoed in Chu Yi's mind. Chu Yi was suddenly very excited. This was Saint's instruction. He couldn't wait to run the primordial origin Wujigong and began to absorb the essence of the 8-9 mysterious gong. After a long time, primordial origin Wujigong became more complex, as if it had evolved. The technique seems to contain all the secret techniques of the 89 mysterious techniques, but these secret techniques still require Chu Yi to practice, and Chu Yi's physical body is also much stronger at this moment, and his mental power has also increased significantly. It's too strong, it's simply too strong. It turns out that the technique can evolve. Chu Yi was shocked. If the primordial origin Wujikong Fu continued to be integrated like this, how terrifying it would be. At this moment, Chu Yi was sitting cross-legged in the chaotic world, concentrating on practicing. Yuan Shi Heavenly Venerable personally explained the way of cultivation to Chu Yi. This was the legendary saint's sermon. Chu Yi concentrated on absorbing what Yuan Shi Heavenly Venerable taught. The prehistoric realm, refining qi, rotation period, consecration period, fusion period. Qi refining soul formation, heartbeat phase, soul silence phase, gold core phase. Soul refining, nascent soul stage, astral projection stage, spirit partitioning stage. Void refining Tao integration, body integration stage, transcending tribulation stage, Mahayana stage. Finally, there's ascension, fairyland immortality, human immortal, earth immortal, true immortal, celestial immortal, profound immortal, golden immortal, Tai true immortal, Tai celestial immortal, Tai profound immortal, Tai golden immortal, great principle golden immortal. Saint realm, primordial origin golden immortal, primordial origin great principle golden immortal, primordial origin Tai Chi golden immortal, primordial origin Tai Chi great principle golden immortal, primordial origin Wuji great principle golden immortal above great Tao. There is a long way to go. Chu Yi sighed in his heart, taking a deep breath of the rich spiritual energy of heaven and earth, feeling it flowing through his body, constantly adjusting his breath and adjusting his state. His cultivation journey has now ushered in an important breakthrough, the spinning period. Layers of spiritual energy surged like majestic waves, constantly pushing him forward. After a short time, Chu Yi successfully broke through to the 14th level and successfully entered the consecration period. Chu Yi did not stop, he realized that this was just a new starting point. So he devoted himself to practice again, and the practice of the consecration period began. First level, second level, fifth level. He continued to break through and advance layer by layer until he merged into the fusion stage again. However, after reaching the fusion period, Chuyi felt that the speed of cultivation slowed down significantly. His cultivation seemed to have hit a bottleneck and was no longer as fast as before. This may be the natural law of cultivation, and the integration period requires more time and energy to understand. All these changes occurred in less than a day. Chuyi's heart was filled with endless gratitude to Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable, and he stared gratefully at Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable standing beside him. Okay, breaking through too fast may not bring good results. Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable's voice was soft and filled with a hint of relief and expectation. His words seemed like a breeze blowing deep in Chuyi's soul. Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable explained a lot, and the most important thing is that Chuyi's supernatural realm can finally be improved, which makes Chuyi a little excited. Chuyi returned to his room again and felt a strange energy filling the air, which was surprising. He was filled with emotion and whispered to himself, "Is this the cosmic spiritual energy that Heavenly Venerable said in the beginning?" However, just as Chuyi was lost in thought, Anna suddenly rushed into the room and said anxiously, "Chuyi, it's bad, something big happened." Chuyi remained calm and responded calmly, "Don't worry, tell me slowly, what happened?" Anna's face was solemn and she said in a heavy tone, "The four major cities in the Dragon Kingdom, Yanjing City, Dongli City, Chisha City, and Nanchung City, have all been attacked by unknown people." Chuyi frowned and asked, "Who is the attacker?" Anna's expression became more solemn and she replied, "We don't know. If they knew, they would definitely take countermeasures." "Don't know." Chuyi frowned, "It's impossible. Even if you are attacked, you don't even know who the attacker is, right?" Anna continued, "Chuyi, this is true, and Fatty and Sister Shirong have already gone to Dongli City. Yanjing City suffered the most serious losses. It is said that Shangguan Shaoshan, the old man of the Shangguan family, was seriously injured." Chuyi's frown deepened and he asked in a deep voice, "How many civilian casualties did this attack cause?" According to statistics, the number of dead is between 10 million and 11 million, and the number of injured is about 30 million. Anna said solemnly. After Chuyi heard the news about the heavy casualties in Long Kingdom, he fell into silence for a long time. He took a deep breath and finally said to Anna, "Then why was our Spark City not attacked?" His tone was full of doubts and confusion. Anna sighed softly and replied, "Actually, our Spark City was also attacked. But luckily, Senior Xiao Tianju took action to protect Spark City. Moreover, he seemed to have just broken through to a realm above rank 9. There was a hint of disbelief in her voice. Chuyi nodded, feeling incredibly surprised. He didn't expect Xiao Tianju to have broken through to a whole new level. He took a deep breath and then said, "Anna, I am going to Yanjing City now. Senior Xiao Tianju is there in Spark City. I am relieved." Anna said without hesitation, "I want to go with you. Without further ado, let's go." Chuyi smiled slightly, feeling pleased with Anna's support. After a while, they arrived in Yanjing City and stepped into the door of Shangguan's house. "Chuyi, I didn't expect you to come to my Shangguan's house." Shangguan Lingwei stared at Chuyi closely, with a hint of surprise in her voice. Chuyi's expression was calm and he said calmly, "I came to visit Mr. Shangguan. I heard that he was seriously injured, so I just came to take a look. You know, I once saved his life." Shangguan Lingwei's eyes were sharp and she said in a deep voice, "You came to my Shangguan house at this time to add insult to injury, right?" Chuyi said calmly, "Actually, I respect Mr. Shangguan very much. He was seriously injured trying to protect Yanjing City. As a person from the Dragon Kingdom, it is reasonable for me to take a look, right?" Shangguan Lingwei looked at Chuyi in disbelief. She had humiliated him like that before, but she didn't expect that at this critical moment, he would ignore the past and come to visit her grandfather. She was full of doubts in her heart. She didn't understand why Chuyi did this, and couldn't help but ask, "I used to treat you so badly, why do you still come to my Shangguan's house, and you are not angry at all?" "Why? Because we are compatriots," Chuyi said with a smile, and then walked straight into the room, only to see Shangguan Shaoshan lying on the bed dying. "Chuyi," You're here. Shangguan Xiaoshan saw that the person coming was Chu Yi. He was so excited that he wanted to sit up, but most of his body had been burned. These burns are very special, even for rank 9 superpowers. Unable to heal. Chu Yi said softly. Mr. Shangguan, I didn't expect that the second meeting would still be in this way. Shangguan Xiaoshan said with a trembling voice. Chu Yi, I didn't expect to see you again in my lifetime. I'm so sorry for what happened last time. I apologize to you on behalf of my granddaughter. She has been spoiled since she was a child, please don't calculate. Chu Yi smiled and said, actually, I didn't take that matter to heart. Now, his strength has surpassed Shangguan Lingwei, and of course he will not care about what happened in the past. However, Shangguan Xiaoshan's eyes were a little lonely and he said, Chu Yi, before I pass away, can I ask you a favor? Chu Yi smiled and replied, Master Shangguan, just say it, I can think about it. Chu Yi, do you know what this is? This is the identity card of the Special Forces of Superpowers. Shangguan Xiaoshan slowly took out a card from his arms. Mr. Shangguan, why do you have this identity card? Chu Yi was surprised. He didn't expect that Shangguan Xiaoshan was actually a member of the Special Force of Superpowers. Shangguan Xiaoshan replied calmly, as if returning to his original glory, none of this is important. What is important is, with this identity card, are you willing to agree to my request? Please tell me, as long as it's not too much, I will try my best to meet your request. Chu Yi said solemnly. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.